It's fine. It's fine, guys. It's fine. We're all back. Everything's fine. Um, but I do appreciate you guys tapping the screen, helping out, doing all those good things. So let's roll this sucker back. We won't let the man keep us down. All right, let's see. Thanks for calling the stream. Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yeah, we just hung up with me because the stream ended.
Yep. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Caller. Yep. So, okay. We can continue our conversation there. So,
what's going on? Is that TikTok? That's something going on with TikTok or what?
Yeah, sometimes they think that there's something wrong happening, and they do it, and then they say, "Oh no, sorry, nothing was wrong," and then they let you come back. So it happens.
Such crap, man. It's so annoying.
Oh well, it happens, but it's all right. Sorry again that we got disconnected, but I'm glad that you called back.
Yeah, it's all good. I'd rather you live in. I'm assuming you got 617 code, so you're in Massachusetts as well.
Yeah, I'm just outside of Boston.
All right, yeah, I'm down on the South Coast, so I figured let's, I call in, I found your stream, so I do want to have a respectful conversation either way. I think it's good for everybody.
That's fine, man. Listen, I think that the main thing I'd like to point out to you is that the thing that you might think is happening, or that Donald Trump is somehow upholding any moderate conservative values or fiscal conservative values or moderate social value, like any of those things that you mentioned when we were talking before. I mean, it's not really a thing. Like he's
and I agree.
He's off the deep end, right? And I mean, and I also want to point out the fact that I don't know how often you head out to the rest of the country, but like we're so insulated here from any of the real damage that he is doing in other places. Like we just don't see the real problem that this is causing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I think that does really affect our view, the people who live here in Mass, who are like, yeah, Donald Trump, he's not that bad, he's not, it's because I think a lot of people here don't really see what's really going on in a lot of these other places. Like, go live in Mississippi or Alabama or Louisiana or different places like that, and like see what their schools are like, see what their healthcare system is like, see what their quality of life is, et cetera, et cetera. And no disrespect to my folks who are listening from those states. You guys have a lot of beautiful areas and a lot of beautiful people, but comparatively the standards are a lot lower, and that's because of the Republicans that run those states.
Yeah, I don't think I think Massachusetts is insulated because we've kind of hogged the infrastructure as far as like the colleges and stuff like that and the scientific aspect of things. I think that, yeah, sure. I mean, you could talk about Boston, you could talk about like those types of cities, but outside of those cities, we have the same problems. It's not just, every state has its own issues, and clearly, like Massachusetts, utility-wise, we've had these problems even before this war. Utility rates were skyrocketing. And we can both attest to that, I'm sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. That was before the war.
100%. And why is that?
Because Healey decided to shut down the gas line from flowing through New York.
Wrong. No.
She did last year.
No, I know that she did, but that's not the reason why our energy prices are skyrocketing. The reason why our energy prices in Massachusetts, and by the way, I will preface everything that I'm about to say by agreeing with you. Massachusetts isn't perfect. We have problems that we need to fix, and there are a lot of them. That's fine, but we have to talk comparatively to the other 50 states, right? So if you and I want to have a discussion about Massachusetts politics and the things that we think we need to fix in our state, by golly, we could do that. But right now, we're talking about the United States of America, and we're talking about being comparative to the other 50 states. But the main thing that we're talking about, the problem, is that we need LNG. LNG is exactly directly correlative to electric costs in this country, right? Do you know what's happened with LNG? We've decided, and President Trump has decided unilaterally to start, since he became president, to basically send so much LNG away from our country that electric rates are fucking skyrocketing in America as a whole. Because what we're doing is we're committing so much. We're committing more than we have to give to Japan, to Europe, and to these other countries. That's what's making electric rates skyrocket in America. And yes, were electric rates already on the rise? Sure. But they're not doing anything to fix them. If you think that pipeline with Healey was going to do anything to, in any short period of time or even in the long term, really help our electric rates or our energy rates, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it was not really projected to do so. Do you know what would really help our energy rates, man? Would be if we nationalized our fucking energy. That would help. Like, we should nationalize our energy sources, and then we wouldn't have the bullshit that we have to deal with where we've got, like, fucking oil companies fighting each other and that we're trying to call them up in the wintertime to get our fucking tanks filled, you know?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why did Trump declare presidential emergency under the Defense Production Act in regards to LNG in April, well, this month? Because he did sign an executive order that Biden implemented under his policy regarding LNG to export permits. Biden put a pause on those permits, which was lowering production for the majority of the end of his term. When Trump got in office, he actually reversed that pause and started implementing more LNG friendly types of policies. And that obviously, I agree with you. LNG is a huge problem right now in the country, but he's trying to push production to the point where it's, it should be at comparatively throughout the states. I totally agree with you. LNG is a huge problem, but that was implemented under Biden.
So LNG it's a complicated one. So LNG, obviously you can produce LNG from oil extraction. So it's part of the process. The more crude oil you extract, you can make LNG from it. But one problem that really kicked off, and pretty sure I'm right on the timeline with this. I want to say it was 2022 is when this really started kicking off. LNG exports. So I think that part of the catalyst for this was Russia invading Ukraine, because that upset the energy markets in a big way.
In Europe, mostly, yeah.
Yeah, in Europe. But, I mean, globally, too, because Russia, I mean, they're a petro state, and oil and natural gas, they're globally traded, right? So it upset the prices. And there was also politics involved in it where, I don't want to divert it too much, but Germany depended on Russia for gas, and the US was basically trying to backfill what Russia was providing to Germany as a way of, further starving Russia. But anyway, LNG exports really kick off. I want to say it's in 2022 whenever we start seeing LNG exports rise in the US, and they continue to rise. And the problem with that is it makes oil companies a lot of money. It makes, I mean, they make a shit ton of money off that. But
Mhm.
also, it drives up the price because, high demand, like you have more
Demand.
customers,
Yep.
more demand, therefore the price goes up. And we don't have the capacity to keep up with the demand. So
Well,
as
we
far
we just
as
had a record. We had record exports in 25, over 100. I think it was 100 million metric tons. So
yeah,
we are getting to that level.
well, so what I mean is we don't have the, I guess, the infrastructure, the capacity, the extraction and logistical capacity to keep up with demand. It's just a steady rise. Like it just continues shooting up, right?
Hmm.
And so what that does is it increases the price of LNG, which has direct effects on, obviously domestic costs for LNG, and also uh, that that leads to all sorts of downstream effects when it comes to utilities, when it comes to electricity, because LNG, in addition to natural gas, as in gas that runs through a line into your home, it also is used literally to generate electricity for homes, right? So
Hmm.
it's a double situation, and it's causing utilities to rise. Our grid is not modernized. That was one thing that um, Obama tried to push through, and I believe also Biden tried to push through, was modernization of the grid. And the pushback on it was, "Oh, this is green, whatever." It was something
It was.
along those lines.
There was a lot of bloat in those bills, as Congress always does on either side. So there was pushback. I agree. Yes.
Yeah. So modernization of the power grid, which, as far as I'm aware, there's East, West, and then Texas, right? That's ERCOT.
Yep. Yep.
But modernizing those grids, that is pivotal to keeping electricity prices down. Because what ends up happening now is that LNG, that issue, right? So we rising prices on LNG, which then means rising prices on utilities for us. And oil companies are incentivized to continue cranking out as much LNG as possible and selling it to the highest bidder. They don't give a damn, so they will continue to raise the price. That means that the supply is lower. It's finite, right? Because we just don't have the capacity to keep up with it. And also, you throw in this little wild card, data centers. So, data
Mm.
centers are this little insidious thing, this insidious little beast that has broken so many things without people realizing it. So the way to think about the grid, and this is one of the reasons why modernizing the grid would have been a good thing. Think about the grid like I don't know, interstate, like a highway. Okay, there's a lot of lanes. Okay, there's like four, let's just say 4 lanes. Okay, cool. Um, and the cars on it, that's electricity. Cool. Um, if you double the amount of electricity being pushed through that grid, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the
Well,
grid can
can I just
only
say can I just say
go ahead.
that the infrastructure in this country, as far as the electrical grid is concerned, the way that the infrastructure is constructed, we actually lose about 2/3 of the energy throughput basically through the lines that have been constructed, meaning only 1/3 of that power on average gets from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So that this is why, and I actually know people in this industry that are trying to develop types of storage that basically gets connected to the grid, not necessarily in like large centers where they're housed, but as a way to store energy and have less loss. Even though at the end of the day, we cannot reconfigure the entire grid. It's impossible because everything would fail. The problem we're having now is we don't want to take the time and the effort to do actual infrastructure reconstruction, meaning instead of having lines above the ground, which most places do, have them underground, which would be a lot better. But obviously, you're not digging lines everywhere and having, massive construction projects across the country. That will never happen. So essentially, they're trying to reconfigure the grid above ground, and they're trying to do these, like I said, these types of storage facilities. And like I said, I know people in this area of research, and we're getting pretty close to having battery type storage that has many years worth of electrical output. The problem is what's going to happen is the utility companies are going to jump right in, and they're going to find ways to make money off of it. And eventually what would have probably been a good thing is going to be a for-profit excursion, and we're going to still get screwed in the long run. So in the beginning, they're going to play it off like, oh, this is great for the economy and great for the ratepayers or whatever, and it's going to end up costing us roughly the same. And that's why I get frustrated, because I'm speaking in Massachusetts because I live here. When Healey came out in 2015 as the AG and says she's against these LNG projects and continues saying this year after year after year, when those LNG projects would reduce the cost of electricity in the state and utilities.
Yeah, but
she kept saying this, and then.
But I have to stop you because I fact checked you while you were talking. I fact checked you on this. So the only thing that Maura Healey ever said was that she bragged about stopping 2 pipelines. There were 2, and they were in 2022. And the 2 projects were 2 companies that were coming
Kinder
through.
Morgan and Axis Northeast.
Yep.
That was in 2015.
No, that was in 2022. That's
I
when,
have the Boston Herald.
I'm sorry. That's when she. I'm saying that's when she said. That's when she said that she. That's when she made the comments on them. Sorry.
That's when she was campaigning for governor.
That's when she made. Yes, that's when she made the comments on them. Right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So but yes, they were stopped in 2015. But that I'm saying that's when she made the comments. That's when she was talking about that she stopped them. But do you know the reason why she said that she stopped them?
Because she said it was a lousy deal.
Right. And do you know who did an independent analysis of the project and found out that it probably would have cost us more money in the long run? WBUR. I in fact found a very interesting article by them that was done in August of this past year. And not only that, but guess what? Maura Healey has come out in support of an Eversource LNG pipeline, hasn't she? Since then.
Was this after the ratepayers complained continuously to her? Because we could talk about politicking here as well.
Listen, bud. I'm going to tell you right now that if I have a choice between paying a shitload more because it's going to increase delivery charges over a number of years, or waiting for the right deal and we could end up paying less over time, I don't really give a fuck why it is. If you were like, oh, well, she's playing politicians respond to what voters want and what the people in their states or their counties or their country, whatever, like that's what they do. They respond to the wants and needs of their people. So if she recognized the fact that she needed to do that, she said already that she was open to doing the pipelines, but that those were a bad deal. She said that previously a couple of years ago.
Okay, but why? So when she did say this, why didn't she explain to the residents of the state exactly why it's a bad deal? Because at the time, this had to do with politics.
She did
It
explain
wasn't
why it was
about
a
what
bad
made the
deal.
most.
She did explain why it was a bad deal. Apparently, when you read the Boston Herald, which is famously more right wing, you didn't get the entire story because as I read WBUR, I'm easily getting all of the ins and outs of the project where it could have cost taxpayers or not energy payers, I should say, those of us paying for electricity, an additional $1 billion. It would have cost us
Well,
more money for delivery.
yes, over a span of time, not just for the year.
Right, not for a single year, but it would have increased the cost overall. So the increased okay, the reason why costs go up in Massachusetts specifically is because we don't have a direct route here. This I do know.
Yes.
And the thing is that when we have those occasional pockets of like really really cold times, right? That happen during the winter and everyone's usage goes up, that's the problem, right? It's not just like average usage because we can handle average usage, but it's those times when it's an issue. So increasing the general supply doesn't really help us from an economic perspective because increasing the general supply just means there's more available, but it's not going to necessarily bring the cost of the LNG down because it's only being delivered on usage.
Well, so part of my pushback on that is, what is their solution? If we have no way of getting LNG or any type of resource to the state that can't get to the state, what is their solution? They don't have a solution.
We do have a
That's the
solution.
problem.
We do. That's what I'm trying to
Importing
explain to
isn't
you.
a good solution in the long term.
We don't have LNG. We don't have any natural gas here in Massachusetts. So the problem
Yes, but we would if this project took place.
We wouldn't. We would be importing it just like we do now with the existing lines. You do realize that there already are existing lines that come into Massachusetts, right?
Yes, but the point was to break off of those lines and increase the import.
I
import
understand
to the state.
it because if you, I understand what you're saying, but what I am trying to explain to you is that if it costs more for delivery than it would out and the projects cost X amount of dollars, those companies aren't going to be like, well, it cost us billions and billions of dollars to do this, so we're just going to for you guys, we're not going to. That's not how this works. They're going to need to make up that money because they're for profit. So if it was a matter of this was a nationalized thing or a state-run operation, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it. Go ahead and do it. But if it's going to cost us more money, the thing that makes more sense long-term, and if you read the breakdown that I did, then you would understand that the thing that probably makes more sense is to do two things. Do one pipeline like the Eversource one that they're talking about doing that would expand some capacity that could help us get through those really cold times, and then invest heavily in the other things that we're talking about in the do more with the solar, do more with the wind, do more with the batteries, all of those different things. By the way, billions of dollars in wind projects that were slated to be here that would help us massively with our electrical grid, canceled by the Trump administration.
Yeah, I don't agree with wind, to be honest. But I want to.
You don't agree with wind?
I want to. No, I want to. It's not a good source of continuous energy at the end of the day, and you still need.
It doesn't have to be.
If you want continuous, accurate, source of energy, wind is too sporadic to be consistent enough to supply the country. And you can only really have it on the shore. You can't have it inland.
Right. So
that's a huge problem.
Anybody who's saying that wind is going to replace whatever what's referred to as I guess base power, which that's going to be hydroelectric, nuclear, and something else. I can't.
Solar.
Those two definitely.
Solar.
Uh, maybe. Well, no, not
Oh,
solar.
you're saying
So
you
the
said base. I'm sorry, you said base. Forward. So,
yeah,
sorry,
base power.
apologies. Yeah.
That's hydro, nuclear, and
Coal.
I think
or
that's it.
something.
Because the other ones are like
Old
on
fossil
demand.
fuel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as your base power ones, anybody who says that wind is going to replace base power, no. It is used. It's used just purely to augment. It's just another thing, right? It's not
It's just to
cutting
help
out or
add to
replacing something.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking. I don't. I think that because Healey and her administration didn't want to commit to a long contract, which a lot of these utility companies, this is what they like long-term contracts because they have a sustained business. They didn't want to agree to this, and I think that's partially why she had to kind of backtrack on it. And I'm not saying she was for it, but maybe if the deal was quote unquote better, as far as meeting somewhere in the middle, we would have some type of agreement here, and it would help the taxpayer. I don't see how what we're doing now is sustainable in the long term. You have more people that are struggling because prices are so high, and they can't survive. They're getting to the point where they can't pay their gas bill or they can't pay the electric bill. So what's the solution? We need a solution, and we have politicians in office that don't have that.
Absolutely. The solution was to not vote in somebody for president who committed more LNG than we possibly ever had available in the country to other countries to export, which is going to drive up our costs through the fucking roof. And then also not to start an unnecessary war, which would drive up the cost of oil through the roof, which we also didn't need. Like the thing that would have immediately helped with energy prices would have been not going to war with Iran, right? That would have been number one. So that we could just start there.
Well, that happened after. What we're talking about specifically happened before the Iran conflict.
I'm talking about LNG. LNG commitments were happening a year ago. Donald Trump was doing this. He was completely fucking us over by doing this and committing far too much of our LNG overseas.
Well, I mean, if people were complaining about not helping Ukraine and not helping all these other countries, the guy's trying to appease people somehow. So at the end of the day, who are we going to blame here? Are we going to blame us for trying to help these other countries, or are we going to, blame Trump?
No. I mean, the LNG thing, to be clear, what Matt's talking about when he's saying committing LNG, it has nothing to do with the Ukraine thing. So I know I had mentioned Russia, Ukraine earlier. That was more just like historical, timeline of LNG and how it's become more and more of a thing. So you can just ignore what I had said earlier in this context. Like what Matt's talking about right now, he's talking about how last year Trump made trade deals with all of our traditional allies, right? So we're talking about India, UK, Japan, not so much Canada,
the EU.
EU. I think those were the big ones as far as LNG commitments. Maybe South Korea.
Ecuador.
I don't know about that. Yeah. So those, I mean, especially India. India in particular, the amount that we committed to India was fucking crazy. Just the amount of LNG that we had committed, that he had said, "Oh yeah, we can do it." Yeah, and that was part of the deal. We don't have the capacity for it. We simply don't. And it's not as easy as just saying, well, hey, let's just add more capacity, because okay, you add more capacity and let's just pretend that we're able to get it off the ground really fast. Okay, cool. Now you're meeting capacity. All right. All that means
Can I
is
just say something quick? So
sure.
India was only 2 million tons of LNG. We produced 100 million tons of LNG roughly in 2025. So the India deal was such a small percent, 2%, let's say, of the increase. So at the end of the day, it wasn't substantial enough to really push the needle anymore.
So you're saying that we produce 100 million.
Yes, roughly.
Okay. By
Metric tons.
how much of that 100 million, how much of that 100 million is consumed domestically?
Oh, hold on.
Like,
I
I mean,
I do not know that off the top of my head.
yeah, so like the reason, so like I know what you're saying about, well, 2 million versus 100 million. Obviously, 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but you have to put it in the context of how much of that is consumed domestically, and we're adding to, like, I guess that total, right? So if we produce 100 million, well, now we got to produce 102 million. We just increased it by 2%. And are we even able to meet that 100 million? What we're seeing is that 100 million prices are increasing, which means that we there's a higher demand for it. Like, we're not able to meet that demand properly.
Yeah. So
So the U.S. If we're talking about gas consumption in the U.S. in 25, the volume is roughly 91.8 BCFD. I don't even know what that stands for, but and then in 2026, it's actually projected.
Yeah.
It's actually projected to go down a little bit.
It's billions.
So
of cubic,
the domestic.
No, it's billions of cubic feet. And so here's the number, right? 25% of all gas produced in the U.S. is exported. 25%.
Yes.
Okay, of all that. Now, guess what it was? Guess what it was 10 years ago?
Exported, probably like 10%.
5%. It was only 5%,
okay.
And that's going up. Guess what happened from 2024 to 2025? Do you know how much the rise in price was from Biden to Trump? Do you want to guess?
Are we talking domestically?
Yeah, domestically. Just domestically, because of what Donald Trump embraced in terms of LNG exports.
I mean, I'm assuming it maybe 50% more, roughly 40-50% more.
In only the first 9 months, he costs families who use natural gas $124 more on average. That's just in 9 months, so that doesn't include the last 3 months of the year, and that is averaging that number across all families who use it. So that means that there were families who paid way more on average, and then obviously some who paid less. But that's your average. But the point is that Donald Trump gave them a 13% increase from 2024 to 2025. So if you're like, hey, my electric prices have gone up, well, from 2024 to 2025, 13% of that increase is directly due to Donald Trump increasing LNG exports, period, the end. Like, that's just a fact, because he upped LNG exports.
Yeah, well, when he got into office, he didn't sign any direct emergency orders yet. When he first got into office, he did reverse the Biden pause. That was obviously true, but that was the main issue. The main issue I had was that I think it happened too soon, and I think that they were already preparing something then for what's going on now. So that goes back to our previous argument but discussion we were having.
Yeah, so reversing the pause that Biden did with LNG, that is that pause was one of the ways of staving off this insane increase in utility prices that we're seeing right now. And
Yes.
to go back to what I mentioned earlier, data centers have been popping up all over the goddamn place, right? Because AI, what we are in a bubble, and it's, I mean, this is the .com bubble for AI, like it's a feeding frenzy, and so they data centers are getting stood up all across the country, and what that means is that, I mean, data centers consume a shit ton of electricity, right? And
Yep.
if our grid doesn't have the bandwidth, like the capacity for it, what that means is that essentially data centers are going to hog the bandwidth, and it's going to cause electricity to increase in price simply because of access, right? Because at that point, it's like, okay, look, data center guys, they are eating up all the bandwidth right now. And so if you want guaranteed electricity from us, you're going to have to pay extra. That is where we're at now. That is why we're seeing these increases in electricity prices, in addition to just data centers consuming a fuck ton of electricity. That's where we're at. If we had modernized the grid, would it still be a problem? Yes. Would it be as much of a problem? No. And so that is just, it's one of those things. Now, to be clear, I think that we need to chill the fuck out on data centers. We need to have a major moratorium on these build outs, because one, it's a bubble, and these we are about to bankrupt like a motherfucker in the next 2 years from just the AI bubble popping. But also because it has these negative effects on communities that they're in, where now electricity prices in that community go way up. Not to mention data centers, I mean, depending on what kind they are and all that stuff, not very clean, not good for the local environment of that community. And I'm not even talking about like the tree hugging hippie, woo spirit kind of way. I'm talking about oh hey, now the drinking water has, wonder chemicals in it, or hey, the playground is full of kids that are now breathing in God knows what that's being exhausted out of a data center. That's what I mean. I mean, we're seeing this.
Yeah,
So Memphis is an example of this. If I don't know if you had heard about this, but if you want to read about it, just type in Memphis Elon Musk data center. Type that in, you'll find it, and you can read about it. And that area is getting fucked over because of data centers and loose regulation around it. It also doesn't help that Donald Trump literally signed in an executive order that there's a moratorium on any type of regulation whatsoever on AI. Actually, I don't know if it's an EO. It may have been part of the big beautiful bill. Either way, it is now law that for the next, I think, 10 years is the moratorium for any type of regulation. So state regulation is not allowed when it comes to AI for the next however many years.
Can we, at the end of the day, ultimately, what, they're right, so they're going to sell on a quote unquote good idea. My issue. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. So I understand. Like I'm moderate when it comes to the environment. I don't like pollution and yada yada yada. I understand that side of it, but at the end of the day, AI is, unfortunately, because I hate AI personally. AI is the future, regardless whether we like it or not. And again, I don't like it, and I think that the data center thing is complete trash, and it aggravates me. But with all that being said, I think that the data center thing, this is also part of the economy that the new economy they're trying to build. So I think what's happening is, this is my personal opinion because I try to follow, what's going on as far as like reconstructing of the economy, which I think is what is happening now.
I think that, long story short, they're trying to find a way to not disenfranchise workers in the long term, because what's going to happen with AI is it is going to disenfranchise workers, and it's already happening. And I think we can all agree on that seems to be a looming problem in the near future, where AI is going to take jobs. And I think, my opinion again, that what they're trying to do is prepare for this. And unfortunately, this has happened with other things in the past, space exploration, ocean exploration. We try to get ahead of the curve, and obviously we're trying to beat China. Let's be honest with ourselves. This is about China. Okay?
Dude, I mean, like, I wish that I could agree with you. I wish I could. Like, as far as the China aspect. So, I wish that I could.
Why do you disagree with the China thing?
So, like, I've talked to Matt about this before, where we will wax poetic about like history things. I love history, and so one of the things that I'm a nerd about with history is the Cold War.
Yep.
And so there's a movie called October Sky that it's early 2000s. It's a feel good movie. I promise you, if you decide to watch it, it's worth it. You'll like it.
I love history as well, so I'll take a look at it.
It's about the space race. It's about how the space race started. Mm-hmm. So the name comes from the fact that once upon a time, Dwight D. Eisenhower was president of the United States. And the Cold War was officially underway. The Soviets were swinging their comrades. Yeah, they were swinging their stuff, and we were measuring, right? So they beat us. They beat us. They were the first one to do it, because in October of 1954, is that right, Matt? Is it 54?
53.
Wait, are you talking about Sputnik?
Yeah.
58.
58. Oh, 58, yes. Shit.
Yeah, so 58. October of 1958, they launched Sputnik.
Mm-hmm.
And Americans all across America look up at the sky in October and see a little star that's moving. And they know that it's Sputnik. And the American media reports on it. Talks about Sputnik. The Soviets, they launched a satellite, the first one. Oh my God. And so that occurs. 1957 was Sputnik. Okay, so
57, my bad.
Okay, 57. So Sputnik happens, right? And Eisenhower and the rest of America has a collective shitting of bricks. And so Eisenhower says, okay, all right, bet. And a little something called DARPA is created. At the time, it was called ARPA.
Good old DARPA. Go figure.
So DARPA was created. And DARPA, the mission was, we're going to beat them. They have a fucking satellite. We need to beat them. By any means. Go. Now. Go. Unlimited budget. Go. Right? And so that was DARPA. And that kicked off the great competition that was the Cold War. Because we never actually got into straight up war with the Soviets. It was just a competition of which country is better. Yep. Well, are the capitalists really the better ones? Is it the socialists? Is that the way forward? Like, who has the most advanced everything, right? And that was the great competition. And that led to such incredible advancement in society, us as a species, the amount that we leaped forward in discoveries, in technological advancement, and the amount of people who got incredible jobs, careers in engineering, in also all the different flavors of engineering, all just whole an entire, like, we're talking about baby boomers and Gen X. Well, yeah, baby boomers and Gen X, both of them, boom, just careers in being able to reliably do something that is tied up in this, whether it is you're an engineer or you're doing factory work that is related to this engineering thing that we're doing over here. The whole country was energized as a result of that Sputnik moment, when America looked and saw Sputnik for the first time and said, we have to beat them. And I say all of that to say, I was so excited in 2023 when that balloon went across America, the Chinese balloon, the little weather balloon thing. I was so excited. I was excited as hell. Like, people were saying, "Oh my gosh, China!" Blah blah. No,
I was kind of fucking pissed, dude. I can't even fly a drone across America without it getting fucking flagged for some type of terrorist activity.
Right. So, I mean, I was excited. I mean, it went across. Everybody's freaking out. Perfect. Exactly the same. Yes. Be afraid of, 1930s technology, China. Fuck yeah. Okay. Weather balloon. Ah. Yes. Be afraid. So I thought, this is our Sputnik moment. This is the next competition. Because China has a space program. They launched a rover onto the moon. We have Artemis. I mean, China's talking about going to Mars. China, absolutely. And it's not even just a space program. Like, the amount of stuff that China does domestically, like with their electric grid, nuclear reactors, they roll those motherfuckers out all the time. And I'm a big proponent of nuclear power. And
well, China, I work in an industry where let's just say we're in we don't want them getting our secrets, okay? And this industry in particular, China has done absolutely everything they can in their power to steal and rob and pillage the taxpayer unknowingly our secrets, okay? And I think a lot of this technology that China does have, which, yeah, you're right, like they're building out all this infrastructure and all this fantastic stuff. It's all of our shit that they're just expanding. Well, most of it is.
I'll just go ahead and say, yeah, like, you're probably right. A lot of that comes from the fact that, yeah, they probably have peaked their shit and they're able to copy our plans, right?
Absolutely.
Whatever. I mean, let's just say that, yeah, they have direct copy and paste of it. All right. The difference is China's actually rolling these things out. America's not rolling out nuclear power. Like, it is such a snail's pace. It's nothing. There was a nuclear power plant finally went online in Georgia not that long ago, and that was like a hoo-hoo. Like, China is doing this at such a clip.
Can I just ask politically, which way do you guys lean?
We're both progressives, democratic socialists. Basically, we're actually pretty close, actually, on the political compass test. Pretty close. So we would be farther left of the Democratic Party.
So it's interesting that you're a proponent of nuclear power, mainly because to me, I'm a proponent of nuclear power as well. I think that that's ultimately the best form of energy. Unfortunately, people poo-poo it because they're deathly afraid of it, when the reactors and the infrastructure that's created to create the infrastructure for the nuclear reactors is immensely far beyond most people's comprehension. And unfortunately, they cannot sell it to the public because of the word nuclear, and it's a shame. It really is a shame.
Yeah. So this is one of those things. It's a holdover. Part of this is Gen X for the most part.
100%.
So Gen X was, that they were prime age. We're talking like teenagers, early 20s when you got Chernobyl, you got 3 Mile. Well, 3 Mile Island was a bit earlier, but all these different scary things with
Fukushima
nuclear power.
Recently.
Well, yeah, and Fukushima, again, that was probably the nail in the coffin for a lot of Americans when it comes to nuclear power. And
Yep.
I mean, so there's a lot of fear mongering, or not even fear mongering, just like nuclear sounds scary. And it can be scary, but a lot of the scary things that made it scary, we figured it out. Like really, 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 really smart science dudes who do nothing but nuclear power figured out how to mitigate all of the scary stuff with nuclear power. And I mean, I have been like a damn evangelist with how much I talk about, when nuclear power making sense. I mean, especially from a left-wing perspective, I think that part of it is that, people my age, Captain Planet, like growing up, Captain Planet.
Oh, yeah.
I blame Captain Planet a little bit. Okay, that green-haired bastard. I blame him a little bit because nuclear waste pollution, right? But I mean, at this point, genuinely, every concern that somebody who could bring to me about nuclear power, any concern, I can probably answer. Because I used to also be against nuclear power. Like, I'm a lefty, and I was definitely primed on the whole, it's bad for the environment, there's so much nuclear waste, it'll take forever, blah, blah, blah. I'll be the first to say, did a deep dive, I'm a convert. And literally any concern that you might be able to bring up when it comes to nuclear power, I can probably explain to you why, hey, it's not really a concern anymore.
Well,
the caveat is that you gotta have modern nuclear power plants. You can't be talking about the stuff from the 60s and 70s, even though the stuff from the 60s and the 70s still pretty fucking sturdy. Fukushima, that power plant was made in the 70s. It didn't melt down until 2011 when a whole ass tsunami and an earthquake hit it. Like, I mean, damn, that is pretty resilient.
That's pretty good.
So
but the point is,
you could also point out the fact that if these people that are so concerned about the environment, if they knew anything about gas stations and the pollution that can come from gas stations, I think that they would maybe change their tune a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, so when it comes to nuclear power, the pitch that I make from the left is that, look, I don't want us to be dependent upon fossil fuels, which technically nuclear is fossil fuel, but whatever. So I don't want us to be dependent upon coal mostly. It's mostly coal and to a lesser extent oil, natural gas when it comes to power, like electricity generation. I don't want us to be very dependent upon that. Nuclear is the only feasible option right now. It's the only one because solar is not there yet. It's just not. Potentially, maybe one day, but the efficiency is not there and it won't be there for a long time. Wind, very, very efficient and it's cost effective and all that good stuff. But again, capacity, it's not there. The amount of power it can generate is just, it is not comparable.
There's also a lot of pollution involved with wind turbines.
Yeah, and I mean, so all of the different, I guess, alternative energy proposals, I love every one of them, right? But they do not compare to nuclear power. They're just, this is physics. This is just down to, we're talking about atoms at this point. Literally physics. You will not beat nuclear power. Also, the long-term goal is getting to fusion, which the only way that you're going to get to fusion is to do research into nuclear power. Once we get fusion, boom, Star Trek, what's up? Like that, at that point, it's unlimited energy. Fuck it, we ball. The end, right? So that the point is, there is a immediate term benefit and a long-term benefit to just doing nuclear power. Now, I make that pitch from the left because it will reduce emissions, because nuclear waste is basically non-existent because of all the cool little sciencey things that have figured out how to manage it. There's essentially no waste. Okay.
Yep.
Number two, that gives us a shit ton of electricity for the grid, for EVs, for homes, for whatever. Cool. Awesome. And three, I fuck. I forgot what I was gonna say. Damn it.
Sorry, I should have.
I'll remember it in a minute.
It's already 12:30 at night in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's funny because there's actually, on a political side of things, there's so much shit we can agree with. All right. The reason why I bring this up is because our politicians suck on both sides. All right. Now, yes, like I mentioned before, I voted for Trump. Okay. I'm an independent, and that's how I want to be. I don't want to be labeled as either or. Okay. At the end of the day, we all have to find a solution somehow, some way. All right. And I feel like we're discussing, this is a fantastic conversation. I just want to throw that out there. Okay. I've had conversations with people, liberals or conservatives, that cannot see a middle ground because they're too caught up in the bias in the country and the rhetoric and the hyperbolic crap that they hear every day. Most of the stuff that we're talking about now, it actually pertains to both sides of the political spectrum, if you identify as a liberal or a conservative. So my problem that I have personally with politicians, including Trump, is that they talk a lot of shit, but they do not have a solution, whether it's they're not intelligent enough, they do not care, or they just want to just go with the flow and continually get elected and keep, like we were talking about China and progressing with what they're building. We could be so much further as a country if we just did stuff, right? I mean, let's be honest, on both sides. People want to argue about the stupidest things, and at the end of the day, if we're going to progress as a nation, we have to learn to come up with our own solutions from the ground up, and it's a damn shame. Because we pay, as a taxpayer, okay, we spend all this money on stuff, including government, whatever you want to call it, benefits and government subsidies and all this stuff that we spend all this money on, but where the hell are we going? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I feel like we're just stagnating.
Your point about China doing stuff, yeah, that's the difference between us and China, right? And that's what I was getting at earlier when I said, yeah, just assume they have copy and paste of what we have as far as our secrets and shit. The difference is China's doing stuff, right? They're building nuclear power plants. We're not. We have all the secrets, right? We have all of the we have all the tech. We have incredibly intelligent people who can do this. China is doing it, and they're doing it at a fucking clip because they aren't concerned about, what about the cost or blah blah blah. Will this affect how will the private sector respond to the? They don't give a fuck, dude. They just blank checkbook.
There is a lack of a private sector there.
I mean, yeah, it is a little different there, but they do have something of a private sector. But the point is that when it comes to, hey, is this good for the country? They will absolutely do it, regardless of if it'll fuck over Bob's company or some shit. So the point is that, yeah, they are doing things. That is something that we should take note of. Do I think that we should be more like China? In that respect, yes. Does that mean that we should be exactly like China? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not a China simp. I am saying we need to look at China, take notes from China, and take notes on what not to do because they do certain things that we should not do. But the point is, we are falling behind. They are passing us. They are absolutely just passing us, and it's because we're just sitting here punching ourselves in the face, and they are walking right by. They're not even running. This isn't even like a wartime urgency thing. They're just casually walking by while we are punching ourselves in the face on the world stage. Well, and when I say punching ourselves in the face, I mean, I'm not talking about like what you had mentioned about arguing amongst one another. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about Donald Trump is an imbecile on the world stage, and he has alienated all of our allies, every one of them. And all that has done is made us the asshole in the room, and they are looking for a new buddy. And maybe not right away, but long term, they're looking for a new buddy. And China's right there. China's like, hey, I mean, maybe, call me maybe.
I think that Trump is. I think that we all understand how fucked up this system is, okay, as far as economically, with the debt, with all this stuff going on, okay? I think that Trump, again, not a great messenger when it comes to the nitty-gritty kind of thing. I think that ultimately a lot of what's going on currently is to save the petrodollar. And I do believe that in his mind, let's just say, because we're talking about him as the president, I think that instead of him just saying, you know what, we have to do X, Y, and Z in order to save, the country economically from calamity, from a collapse. Instead of him saying that, which obviously if he did, if this was the case, I'm being hypothetical here, but if it was the case that this is true, the country people would go nuts on both sides, obviously. There'd be riots in the streets, people would go crazy. All right, and I think as a government official, as the president, he can't do that, and we all know that, because if he did, it would be chaos. Okay, and I agree that he does say a lot of really stupid shit, and I get sick of it. I think that the problem is, per the discussion we were having earlier, politicians, they say stuff to get elected.
Dude,
on both sides.
Donald Trump is on an entirely different fucking level, dude. There's just no comparison.
I don't disagree. I do not disagree.
Then why did you vote for somebody like that?
Because at the time, the societal issues, I was having a problem. Because some of it did affect me personally. It wasn't necessarily the economy. It wasn't, even though I thought Biden was just a total lost cause the last 2 years of his presidency. And I thought at the time...
Yeah, you really hated the fact that inflation was going down, gas prices were going down, the GDP was rising, and we got 8 million more jobs back after we got all of the... After we got all of the jobs back from COVID that we lost, we got 8 million more jobs on top of it. Inflation went down. Gas prices went down. The economy was on the way back up. The GDP was fucking flowing. And as a business owner in Boston, was pretty fucking happy about that. Ask me if I'm happy. Ask me if I'm happy right now.
All of those
ask
things
me
were
if
bound
I'm
to
happy
happen
right now.
irregardless.
Hey, South Shore, ask me if I'm fucking happy right now with the economy.
South Coast.
Hey, I don't fucking care. Ask me if I'm fucking happy with the economy right now, kid.
I'm not.
Good. I'm not either.
Saying...
Why the fuck would you vote for a fucking putz like this? This is your fault for voting for someone like this. You want to middle ground this shit? That's fine, man. Middle ground it all you want. But look in the mirror and remind yourself, you voted for this, okay? I'm not going to sit here and do this. Well, they're all the same. They're all the same. It's all the same. They're
Are
not.
they not?
They're not. Sorry, they're not. When I was a teenager in the 90s, if you said that to me, I would probably agree with you on some level. I'd be like, yeah, politicians, they're all just kind of the same. Sure. Now, you have Nazis and you have people that want everyone to have health care. One of those things is not like the other, bro.
What are you talking about, Nazis? What do you mean?
I am talking about the Nazi that you voted for that's in the White House.
Why do you think he's a Nazi?
I don't know. It's probably the fact that he quotes Hitler's speeches, kept a copy of Mein Kampf by his bedside table. I mean, like, there's a bunch of different reasons.
You don't
Are
like
you
to
able to
read
see the
into
screen?
other people's opinions?
Excuse
Caller, are you able to see his screen right now? Or
No,
is-
I'm just on the call
Okay.
because
All right. That's fine.
I'm driving.
That's
So
Yeah, no, that's fine.
you.
do you think, as far as somebody who, I think you guys seem intelligent, okay? And I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't want to get angry. I don't want to have an argument. I think this is a great conversation we've been having, okay? And I understand your anger, because I do feel the same way. I don't want to fucking pay $5 for gas. I'm fucking sick of it, okay? But with the caveat, you're talking about, you're comparing him to Nazis, okay? At the end of the day, the Nazis were literally the worst people on the planet, okay?
In 1933, when Adolf Hitler took power, did he immediately start by exterminating an entire group of people, or did he start by, like, vilifying the trade unionists? Did he start by vilifying and vilifying his political opponents and then pointing at them and saying they're the enemy? They're the enemy from within. Does that sound familiar to you? Has anyone else that you know recently used the term enemy from within? Do you know anyone who's used that quote recently? Can you tell me?
I mean, maybe Trump has. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's quoted that directly. So when you talk about coming out of the direct playbook of Mr. Mustache Man in Germany over there, absolutely. So yes, I am going to make direct comparisons to that guy and our current president, who again quotes him directly and has started doing a lot of the same things that he was doing, because he started off by vilifying the unions.
Both
and
sides
vilifying.
do this, though.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Then here's what I want you to do. I want you to get me a single quote. I want you to get me a single quote of a Democrat who called Republicans the enemy from within, or sat there and called any single group of people in America vermin, or said that they were poisoning the blood of America. Can you tell me which Democratic politician has said any of those particular quotes, please, or a comparable version of them? I'd love to know.
I think that when you have somebody like...
No, I don't. I'm asking you a question. Can you tell me?
I don't know. I do not know.
The answer is because it doesn't exist, sir, because Donald Trump is different. This is why we are not going to sit there in both sides this issue. Okay, that's why if you want to talk about things, you're like, oh, we can have a great conversation. Sure. But the one thing I'm not going to sit here and do is abide by it's both sides and we just got to come. No, we need to stand up and we need to say, Donald Trump is a fucking wannabe fascist and wannabe Nazi. He is building concentration camps and sending people to them. Okay? He is literally trying to do that shit. He wants to. The guardrails are coming off, and that's what he wants. Stop with the blinders, man. That's what he wants.
So what do you as far as the concentration camps? Are you referring to the immigration centers?
Yeah, it's the ICE detention centers. Yeah.
Yep.
So where's the comparison between a internment camp and a immigration center?
So
are they being starved to death?
Well, people didn't starve to death in Japanese internment, but they were treated poorly, right? Um, to
I'm
be
referring to
clear,
Germany.
oh, okay. Well, concentration camps, that's a different story, right? But to be clear, what's happening right now, you can look this up. You can look this up. This isn't just one example, because I know that you've probably heard of alligator Alcatraz. That is the
Yep.
infamous example, right? That was one, and that was early on, right? It is all over, all over the place right now, and it's just kind of turned into white noise because of everything else going on, and so there's just too much to keep up with on these facilities. So what's happening is people are being either denied medication, or they get it way late and end up having to go to the hospital. People have died in these facilities. The food is rotten. Like not like ooh nasty cafeteria food. No, maggots in the food. Um, the kids are either underfed or just poorly taken care of, right? Um, and there's also all of the people who have gotten out of these facilities. Um, they have talked about the conditions inside there. So beyond what I just said, there's the abuse that happens where guards will like do all sorts of fucked up things to the people there, where it's like some people were saying that they were made to eat food out of a dog bowl like a dog, all sorts of stuff. And if you want to put you might say, okay, well maybe they're just lying because they're trying to make it up because they're pissed that they were there. I mean, number one, I'm going to believe them over ICE detention people. Like, I just am. I mean, is that me being biased? Sure, yeah, because ICE has killed Americans, and the people that run ICE have justified it. And I mean, I'm just not okay with that, right? So I mean, yeah, I'm biased in that. I'm going to believe these people who, through no fault of their own, were kidnapped and taken to these places and kept there for God knows how long, and managed to get out. Now, to the point about, okay, well, they need to do the legal thing. In these facilities, they are not given proper access to their lawyers, because that's what we hear, right? Is whenever people argue immigration, whenever Trump supporters argue immigration, they're like, well, they just need to do it the right way. They just need to go about it the legal way, and it's fine. Okay, well, the people are literally trying to do it the legal way. They're trying to use the law. They're trying to talk to their attorney while they are in these facilities, literally like prison. They're trying to talk to their lawyers, and ICE is just saying, fuck off. You're not going to get, or you're not talking to your lawyer. They don't give them phone calls. They don't even inform their lawyers on where the clients are at, because they shuffle them around constantly. And there's God knows how many instances of abuse, whether like physical abuse, right, but also adult abuse, right? The fucked up kind, right? That kind of abuse that is absolutely happening in these facilities. And like the last that I saw, it was 1,400 are missing. There's 1,400, and this was I haven't checked recently. This was over a month ago that I looked at this. 1,400 people have gone missing in ICE custody. So like we cannot find them. We don't know where they're at. And why? To what end? What is the point of that? I mean, like with Japanese internment, again, that was fucked up. And again, I'm a big fan of FDR. Also, easily the most fucked up thing that FDR did. And the excuse there was, oh well, we're at war with Japan. Well, that's kind of a bullshit excuse. What's the
Well,
excuse here? Like what? They don't have the right paperwork, so you're gonna put them in a hellhole? That's
I
crazy. Like what, dude? Really?
I think
Is that what we are?
I don't. All right. So as far as the treatment in these facilities, let's be honest, it's been happening for a very long time. Okay, this goes back many years, and I agree that it has been happening. It's been documented. Even under Biden, there were some articles coming out that stated they weren't being allowed to contact lawyers and yada yada yada. It's true, 100%. And the fact that it does happen, it is a shame because at the end of the day, that is our tax money that is going towards this. Okay, and as a human, yes, I think to me, immigration should have been contained, and it shouldn't have gotten out of control as it was. Okay, I'm all for immigration. I work with immigrants every day. Great people. That's me personally. At the end of the day, though, a lot of those articles that come out, they are exaggerated. And I'm not saying it's not happening, but the deaths we're talking about, the deaths in the centers. Do we know what the deaths were? Were they suicide? Were they
Yes, yes,
malnutrition?
yes,
Were they
yes. We
being
do. Yeah,
starved? Like,
no, no, no. We do. For example, there was one guy. He had an infection in his mouth, a tooth that was like a bad
mhm.
tooth. It was infection. He died from that because the guards wouldn't get him medical attention. Could you imagine dying from a toothache?
Yeah,
Can you
that's
imagine
fucked
the
up.
excruciating fucking pain that poor, 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 poor man must have been in, and then he didn't get medical attention, and for how long, and for the infection to go get that bad? Holy shit, dude, that's fucking torture. And I'm sorry, my friend Erika wanted to say something. Please, Erika.
Okay.
Erika, you're
I'm here.
oh, hi, yes, hello.
Okay. So I was just wondering, are you aware of the warehouses that are being purchased across the United States of America to house, to process and house undocumented immigrants? They're looking to 92,000 beds in total is what they're looking to do.
Am I aware of it? Yes. I don't know the
You are?
exact specifics, but yes.
Okay. All right. So these warehouses, do you think that these warehouses were built for humans to live in them, or maybe to store boxes and packages and other types of, non-living things?
Okay.
I'm asking you a question.
You're asking if I knew about this?
No, no, no. What do you think that the warehouses were built for? Do you think that they were built for humans to live in them, or to store boxes and packages and other non-living things?
Well, obviously, usually warehouses are meant for storage, but okay.
Hmm. 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 So, as a Trump supporter and a person that supports like deportation, from what I've heard thus far, why do you think that the Trump administration purchased these warehouses?
Why do I think? I think that, I mean, have they actually explained why? Is it
If you don't, if you don't
in the
think,
know?
if you don't think, or if you don't know, then you can say either or.
I just don't like to assume that this is for one thing or the other, depending on how I
I'm
feel
asking
about
you what
the
you think
situation.
about it. I'm just asking you what you think about it. That's all.
I don't have any opinion on that.
You don't have any opinion on it? Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, I just have one last question for you. Do you think that the concentration camps in Germany started off as concentration camps, or do you think it evolved?
Oh, they were labor camps prior to the naming of being a concentration camp.
Yeah, they actually started off as like of course like prisons and a place to do torture, and of course like you said forced labor,
Yeah.
primarily for political opponents. for people who disagreed with the Nazi Party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then around 1941, 1942, something happened. It changed. It really changed. Are you familiar with Action? What was it? Action T4?
Action T4. Action Plan T4.
It's Action T4. It's spelled with a
Yeah,
K.
the euthanasia movement. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what it evolved to. And they went after a certain demographic first. They went after people with disabilities, mental disabilities, and also physical disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made their way down the list. They went after who they thought was weakest first, right? And then, like after they made their way down the list, all right, that's when they went to Jewish people. After they got rid of all the other people that they found non-desirable, like the Jehovah's Witnesses, the gay and the trans people, again, the mentally disabled and the physically disabled. That's what they did. They just made their way down the list until they got to who they wanted to get to. All right. Do you maybe kind of see the similarities that are happening here in the United States of America, especially with the Secretary of Health recently saying at his congressional hearing that, children, he defended his stance on children being reparented. Are you familiar with that term?
Reparented, yes.
Yeah, he mentioned that and he talked about that and he didn't deny it. He
Well,
didn't deny the concept of reparenting. Go ahead.
I can't use the issue that I have is that legally the comparisons are moot. And the reason why I say that is because at the end of the day, you can't compare what Hitler and under that, the regime that happened. You can't compare that level of indignity that he caused amongst the Jewish population and all the populations that he affected.
So are
Here, I
you saying
understand.
that Donald Trump is bound by the law?
He has to be.
Are you sure he's bound by the law? Because do
Yes.
you recall this one time last year? It was in spring of last year, I believe in March.
I
It was
don't
either
want to
March
hear
or
about
early
the hush
April.
money case.
I'm not talking about hush money. I don't think you should ever assume what it is that I'm going to say. Don't do
uh,
that. All right. But yeah, you don't have to do that. No. It was in March or April of last year where they loaded up a plane of Venezuelan migrants and they took off on that plane and they were in the air. And a judge, Judge Boasberg to be exact, said that they had to turn that plane around and return those undocumented immigrants, those migrants, so that they could receive their due process. Did those undocumented immigrants come back to the United States of America, or were they sent to CCOT in El Salvador, which is an infamous concentration camp?
they were sent to CCOT.
So my question for you is, did the Trump administration follow the law?
Well, the law was implemented while they were in the air, correct?
The law wasn't implemented while they were in the air. We've had due process since our Constitution was written.
Yes, but the due process has to do with it. This is the Constitution is the law of the land. If they were already in process, I think that the law is a
They were
little
in
gray in
United
that
States.
case.
They were in United States custody, therefore under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. It applied. So I just want you to answer the question and please be intellectually honest with me. Did the Trump administration follow the law?
I'm going to use a little nuance here, okay? Did they follow the law? It's still a gray area to me. And the reason why I say that is because they're already in the air at this point. When that
There's
ruling
no
came
gray
down,
area, I'm telling you.
they left the country already, okay?
There
That
was no
doesn't
gray
that
matter.
point,
area.
That legally that
at
doesn't
that
matter. Legally that doesn't matter. Was it still with the U.S. Marshals? Yes or no?
yes, they were
Had
absolutely.
the U.S.
So yeah.
Marshals set foot in another country and gone through customs? Yes or no?
We
Had
do
the
not
U.S.
know.
No, we do know that they were in the air. So had U.S. Marshals set foot in another country and gone through customs? Yes or no? The answer is
I
no.
do not know.
No,
I
the
do
answer
not
no.
know.
We know for sure with 100% surety. The answer is no. That means that for all legal intents and purposes, that group of people were still bound by U.S. law, U.S. jurisdiction. Period. The end. There's no gray area, sir.
Well, I
And
mean, did Trump not refer to the Alien Enemies Act at the time when this was taking place?
Doesn't matter. It wouldn't
he doesn't
supersede
supersede the court.
it doesn't supersede the judge's ruling.
Did they not impose a some type of litigation within that judgment that it was pushed off? It wasn't immediately constituted.
Immediately constituted?
No.
You want to
Did it
rephrase
did,
that?
did at the time when this ruling came down? Okay, did the Trump administration not try to find? Did they not argue the case that this was under the Alien Enemies Act and it would be suspended? Like the actual ruling wouldn't be enforced. There was no way to enforce
They
it.
tried to argue that, but the federal judge made his ruling, and he said that even pending appeal, that they needed to be brought back to the United States, that they weren't to be deported. It doesn't matter.
Boasberg he issued a temporary restraining order, right, to have that plane that flight turn around, to have that plane turn around and come back to the United States, like to land back in the States, all right, so that those migrants could receive their due process. Right? I don't think that we have to relitigate the case because it's already been ruled on. JGG versus Trump, and they already found that the migrants did not receive due process, and that moving forward, they do. Well, not moving forward, they've always had a right to a habeas petition, all right, and that they have to receive due process. So it's already been ruled on. There's nothing for us to relitigate here, all right? The Trump administration, in fact, broke the law. I have
The
another
Supreme
question
Court,
for you.
The Supreme Court did rule on that case though, and they said that
I just said that.
there was no jurisdiction to the order, and the order was null.
I just said that. Did they also say that they have a right to due process and to file a habeas petition?
Well, in the D.C. Court of
Because what you
Appeals,
just said doesn't sound right.
the Supreme Court ruled on the case, and they said that order was without jurisdiction. So
I'm looking it up right now. I never heard that before.
Which order?
the order that was in, well, you're talking about the ruling when it came to the Venezuelan
That doesn't sound. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that after the case was litigated through the Supreme Court, they issued a judgment saying that order was null. It was null and void because they had no
It's
jurisdiction.
because of jurisdiction, not because of the law. So it was because of him.
Well, jurisdiction
excuse
does.
me, one moment. You're reading it wrong. You need to read that he lacked the jurisdiction to address the matter in Washington, D.C. So it's because of location for him, not because of location of the plane. That's why when you use ChatGPT, it is very important that you read whatever it is you're reading in full,
I'm
and
not
that you
using
also click on the
ChatGPT.
article. You are. I know you are. It's okay.
I'm absolutely not using ChatGPT.
I know you are, but it's okay, friend.
I'm just saying that basically because the Supreme Court ruled that they didn't have jurisdiction, then that case was null and void.
That's not null and void. I'm literally reading from the decision right here. The detainee's right against summary removal are not currently in dispute. The government expressly agrees that TDA members subject to removal under the Alien Enemies Act get judicial review. It is well established that the Fifth Amendment entitles aliens to due process of law in context of removal proceedings. So the detainees are entitled to notice and opportunity to be heard appropriate to the nature of the case.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, the question would be, were these particular immigrants, were they, what type
There is
of
no question, dude. There is nothing that you can ask right now or say that will change the Supreme Court. This has already been decided. They were right. The Trump administration was wrong. They violated their due process. Period. The end. The Supreme Court said so.
Which is embedded in the law of the land, the Constitution. Therefore, the Trump administration did, in fact, break the law.
I just read from you on page 3 from the Supreme Court decision. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, et al. V. JGG, et al. That's number 24A931. You are welcome to read it yourself. April 7th, 2025. Page 3, first paragraph.
Yes, and on April 8th, the following day, following the emergency appeal, the Supreme Court ruled per curiam that Boasberg was without jurisdiction to issue his order, who was the D.C. court.
Wait a second. Time out. Erika already explained why. It wasn't because he wasn't allowed to order them back. They were bound to follow that law, that order from a federal judge. The Trump administration never said, "Oh, we're not going to follow it because you're out of." That's not something for them to decide. That's something for an appeals court to decide, for the Supreme Court to decide. The Trump administration said, "Nope, sorry, they're already gone. We're not bringing them back." They just said no. That's not for them. See, here's the thing. If you're in trouble with the law, or I'm in trouble with the law, or Nemo or Erika's in trouble with the law, and there's like some snafu that we think is going on, we can't, if they're like coming to arrest us, we can't go, "Oh, no, you can't arrest us because you're potentially violating our Fourth Amendment right in this other thing that happened before, so I can't do it." No, they're going to arrest you. But your lawyer, when you go to trial, can say, "Hey, my client's Fourth Amendment right was violated in this way, that way, blah, 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 and we should have a mistrial, or this evidence shouldn't be included, et cetera, et cetera." That's how that works. They had no right to say no to a federal judge giving them a lawful order at the time. Do you understand?
Sure, your interpretation, sure.
No, it's not my interpretation. That's how the law works. They said no because they said that the people were gone. They didn't say no because they didn't say, "Oh, you don't have jurisdiction in this particular case." They said, "No, the people are gone." They don't get to decide that. The Supreme Court gets to decide who has jurisdiction.
Okay. So I'm sure if the Supreme Court said the Trump administration, or whatever the case, is in violation of X, Y, and Z, they would have ordered them to bring those migrants back to the country.
They
which
did.
They did not.
They did. They did.
The Supreme Court said that his ruling had no jurisdiction. They had no base case.
You're reading from
April.
You're reading from April 7th of 2025. How about you dig a little bit deeper from the Google overview, the Google AI overview, Chat GPT, Copilot, Gemini, Aisha, whatever the heck it is that you're reading. All right, stop doing that and actually do research into. Aisha is. Oh wait, I'm gatekeeping. Never mind. I'll message
you.
Okay, dude. They literally made them bring you honestly are going to sit here. You honestly are going to sit here and go, "I think it's okay when the President of the United States tells a federal judge when given a lawful order to go fuck themselves." Like, you think that's fine?
Do I think that's fine? No.
Cool. So then you admit that the Trump administration broke the law.
Just say it.
I
It's
think
okay. You can say
I
it.
think that I think that there's
Oh my
nuance to the
God.
argument.
There's
It's
no
not
new.
just
There's
straight
There's
not
black
there.
and white.
nuance
There's
here.
no
They already found they
nuance.
broke the law. They violated the Constitution. That's why they said that they have a right to habeas corpus. We're going in circles here. All right. This is going to be the true test here, whether or not you actually are an independent thinker or just a bootlicker. I'm going to be honest with you. All right.
Oh man,
What is the
I don't
Fourth
like ad
Amendment,
hominem
sir?
attacks. I'm sorry.
You're okay. You'll be all right. All right. I'm sorry. My apologies. You're not a bootlicker.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What's the Fourth Amendment?
Oh, I don't know. What is the Fourth Amendment?
It protects people against illegal search and seizure. I think you know that already. I think you know that.
Unreasonable search
So,
and seizure.
yeah, so exactly. So, quick question for you. In May of 2025, all right, did the acting deputy director of ICE, what's his name again? Matt, is Todd or Tom something?
Todd Blanche.
Todd, no, not
Oh
Todd
wait,
Blanche.
no.
That's the AG
Oh
guy.
no,
Holman.
the AG. Yeah. What am I saying? What? Sorry, Nemo.
What's his name, Nemo?
Holman.
Tom Homan.
No, not Tom Homan.
With
That's
the ICE
CBP.
director.
Oh.
We're talking about the deputy ICE director.
Oh.
How come I know everybody else except for him?
No, not Bovino.
No.
Bovino's out. What?
I got
Are you
it.
talking
Don't
about
worry about it.
2025?
Hold on. It's who is it now?
Charles
Todd
Wall was
Lyons.
the deputy.
Todd Lyons.
Thank you, Todd
Lyons.
Lyons. There we go.
Okay, there you go.
So in May of 2025, Todd Lyons issued a memo, and this memo said to ICE, all right, said to ICE that they could in fact enter people's homes with an administrative warrant. It told them they did not need a judicial warrant, and again, that they could use an administrative warrant. All right. I am going to ask you, do you know the difference between the two? And if you say no, then I'm just going to end the conversation, because what I'm going to determine is that you really shouldn't have an opinion on these things, or whether or not the Trump administration broke the law, if you don't know what the law is.
What are you asking me?
Do you know the difference between the two? Do you know the difference between an administrative warrant and a judicial warrant? I was very clear.
A judicial warrant? I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Do you know the difference?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, you're breaking up when you're talking. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay. So do you know the difference between an administrative warrant and a judicial warrant?
Well, an administrative warrant is not. I believe it's a judicial warrant. It's obviously a court order. Administrative warrant is not obviously a court order. It's
Bingo.
issued by the government itself. I believe whatever agency is implementing that type of warrant. So with that case, it would
Exactly.
be ICE.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay,
So
fantastic. So when the Trump administration, all right, allowed ICE agents to enter people's homes, specifically in Minnesota, all right, so Minneapolis, Minnesota, when they allowed that to happen, all right, was that a violation of the law?
So let's rewind it a little bit. Before that was allowed, did Trump not sign an executive order that stated that there was a quote unquote emergency when it came to the migrant situation?
Executive orders don't trump the Fourth Amendment to the Constitution.
Thank you, Matt. I just want to know where within that, we're in law anywhere, statute, code, whatever, all right, even friggin' theory, does an executive order trump an amendment?
Well, so from a DHS standpoint, those particular the warrants. This is what I'm trying to remember what happened from what I read. so the final order of removal for those particular migrants that they were going after at the time, those were the ones that they were targeting, and the ones that were that had violent convictions in the past. At the time, I don't know what's going on now. I'm
What
just
is he
speaking for
talking
what you're.
about?
I
He's
don't
just
I
using
don't yeah I
words.
don't I don't know what you're talking about, man. We're talking about entering people's homes without judicial warrants.
Yeah. Yes. So they
So
had a
there's
final order of
it
removal from
that
ICE.
none of that matters. Whatever you're talking about, it doesn't matter. And I'm about to read something from you. This is from the Fugitive Operations Handbook that was created at ICE headquarters and is signed by Tom Homan himself. Okay? I'd like to read this for you. Um, this is on page 17. This is a direct quote, by the way. I'm not paraphrasing. Quote,
Okay.
neither a warrant for arrest of alien, I-200, nor a warrant of removal, I-205, authorizes officers to enter the target's residence or anywhere else where the target has a reasonable expectation of privacy. A government intrusion into an area where a person has a reasonable expectation of privacy for the purpose of gathering information will trigger Fourth Amendment protections, including a physical intrusion into a constitutionally protected area. Therefore, without a criminal warrant, officers must obtain voluntary consent before entering a residence or area where there is a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Okay.
So, do you understand what I just read?
Yes.
That's from the ICE handbook, which they even say neither of those warrants, those administrative arrest warrants, are allowed to be used to enter someone's space because that's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. So when did that change? Did it just like all of a sudden in May of 2025, it just like poof?
Because they issued a memo.
Because like the Fourth Amendment just changed and the previous 20 years of ICE existing and this being their policy because that's how the Fourth Amendment worked just went up in smoke, or what happened?
Well, I'm not saying that I understand what you're saying. I do not disagree entirely. Okay. I'm not saying that what you're saying I don't agree with, because I do agree with that, and I obviously we're citizens here. Obviously, we enjoy the prospects of the Constitution. So I don't know exactly. I do not remember exactly what was happening at the time. I want to say I remember there was some type of appeal to the Supreme Court that was in process when this was all happening, and the Supreme
Right.
Court actually said that this was okay.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They've never
They
ruled.
never said
Not
that.
only have they never ruled on this specific issue in terms of coming from ICE or anything like that, they've ruled multiple times in the opposite, affirming that folks who are undocumented have those same constitutional rights under the Fifth and 14th Amendment that we all have. So
And that they
no,
even have a right to the Fourth Amendment also.
yeah.
Okay.
So no, they've never ever said that otherwise. No. And again, that's why this is in there. This is just nothing more than a direct violation of the Fourth Amendment across the board from the Trump administration because they don't give a fuck about the Constitution.
Well,
Oh
there was
man.
no case. There was no case that was brought to the Supreme Court to try to prosecute the Trump administration regarding illegal entry and Fourth Amendment violations.
There
Because
was
that
a
would make
case found
sense.
in
Right?
There was a case filed in Minnesota that is still ongoing, and the initial ruling by the lower courts is that they did violate the Fourth Amendment. Garrison Gibson, I believe, is the man's name in Minnesota, where they entered his home without permission using an administrative warrant.
Well, I mean, I thought under the Fourth Amendment, if the government has probable cause that somebody committed a crime,
Nope.
they do have lawful.
No. No.
they can
Nope.
lawfully
They can't.
arrest them.
Nope. Arrest somebody is one thing. That's not under the Fourth Amendment. You need a judicial warrant to enter someone home under the Fourth Amendment. There are exigent circumstances that fall, which would mean you don't need a warrant to enter someone's home as an officer of the law. Those examples would be if you're chasing a fleeing suspect and that suspect runs into a house, you see them, right? You're chasing somebody and they run into a house or a business or something like that, you're allowed to go in and get them because you watch them run into someone else's domicile. That's okay. That's allowed. That's number one. But if that person is just inside their home, no. So that's number one. But number two is if there's an emergency like a fire or something like that, they can bypass the judicial warrant. And then the other one is if there is evidence being destroyed. There's evidence being destroyed. That's the other one that falls under exigent circumstances. But then they have to prove that they entered the home under that auspice, and sometimes that's difficult to determine and prove. Those are the only circumstances under which you can get outside of the needing a judicial warrant. So there's no just saying, oh, I think that there's somebody there that we need to arrest. That doesn't count as exigent circumstances. That's why their manual says that. It literally lays out like, nope, a warrant for arrest doesn't you can't use that to enter someone's home because it will trigger Fourth Amendment protections.
Well, okay. My only issue is that while you're reading verbatim of what's going on, but at the end of the day, there is no Supreme Court precedent as far as this situation is concerned.
Yes, there is. U.S. v. Jones.
What is it? U.S. what?
U.S. v. Jones.
U.S. v. Jones. What year was this? 2012?
Yep.
GPS tracking device to vehicle monitors movement.
Talks about constitutionally protected areas. You can also look at Plyer v. Doe, which establishes the fact that, and that was 1982, that undocumented people receive the same rights that we do under the Bill of Rights. It's affirmed.
Yes, if they're on the U.S. soil, they do through the Supreme Court. They have legality when it comes to the Constitution. I agree with that.
Yeah, this is that's all that we're only talking about people on U.S. soil, bud.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. But there are people who argue that say illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants or whatever the case is, that they don't have any rights under the Constitution. And
I understand. They're just flat out wrong. So again, this is settled law. Those people have Fourth Amendment protections.
But you say there are people that say that. Do you believe that?
No, I believe that if they are a quote-unquote illegal immigrant, undocumented immigrant, whatever the case is, if they're in this country, they have constitutional rights.
Okay.
That's just a fact.
All right. So I'm sorry. Then if you hold on one moment, sir. If you think that the Trump administration did not violate the law because there hasn't been a case that has ruled on this specific one, then what you'd have to then provide to me, Nemo, and Matt is actual evidence showing that they were within the bounds of the law. Right. And the reason why is because of the fact that that information would in fact exist. There would be something on the record that says that you can use an administrative warrant to enter someone's home without probable cause, reasonable suspicion, or exigent circumstances.
Well,
where does that exist?
That's why I say that it doesn't exist. There is no
okay,
case
so
law.
if you know
so
that an administrative warrant, It's not up for interpretation because if you know that an administrative warrant is signed by the agency, all right, that is issuing it, and it does not give said agency the right to enter a person's home without permission, then how is it that you say they did not violate the law when you simply can search, you can search the interwebs, all right? You can take a look at Michelle's internet and you will see that there have been numerous cases, all right? I'll say instances so we don't confuse, all right? Numerous instances of ICE entering people's homes, their property, with an administrative warrant.
What I'm saying is there is no case law regarding that.
There doesn't have to be a
particular
case law. There is the law. That's what I need you to understand. It does not have to be a case law. There is the law. Tis all.
it's gray area. It's nuanced.
There's no gray
there's
area
interpretation of the law.
whatsoever. There's no
There's
gray area
interpretation of the
here.
law.
Okay, all right.
When
It's
they-
not, no, it's not gray area, and I'll explain exactly why. Under Plyer v. Doe in 1982, did the Supreme Court affirm that undocumented people have those same rights that we do, yes or no?
You say Pryor v. Doe?
Plyer v. Doe. The answer is yes, they did.
Well, that had to do with didn't that have to do with like access to school or whatever?
Yes, it
Undocumented
did. Yes,
kids?
it did.
Okay.
But guess what? The way that the Supreme Court works is that the actual issue oftentimes is immaterial. The actual issue at hand is oftentimes not the really important part. The really important part is what the Supreme Court says about that issue. And what the Supreme Court said in their decision is they're like, you have to afford these people those rights because they're due them under the Constitution, because when you interpret the Constitution and the 14th Amendment specifically, which then that filters down to the other amendments in the way that we interpret them, if we're talking about all persons or people, that means not just citizens, because the first half of the sentence in the 14th Amendment specifically refers to citizens, and then they repeat the same thing, but for all people, all persons. There was no need for the redundant language, except for the fact that they wanted to make it really fucking clear that citizens get these rights and all people get these rights. So the Supreme Court said, since it says all people, all persons, and we know that that means all people, that's how this works, which means that if you take their same standard and you apply it across the board, as they did with undocumented people, they're telling you the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the First Amendment, these amendments apply to them unless they are specifically talking about citizens, in which case there are some instances in the Constitution and in the Bill of Rights specifically that are, you can say they're talking about citizens. For example, obviously you need to be a citizen to hold federal office or to vote in a federal election. Okay, we know that for sure, and there are some restrictions on the Second Amendment. We also know that. Okay, but beyond that, the Supreme Court said that applies to all people. The Fourth Amendment isn't specific about citizens. There is no need to have a single specific case about this, which is why ICE already knew this, which is why in their training manual for every new ICE agent, it had the words, a government intrusion into an area where a person has a reasonable expectation of privacy for the purpose of gathering information will trigger Fourth Amendment protections. They told their agents specifically that because this was already decided. Does that make sense now?
I don't disagree. Sure.
Great. So we agree the Trump administration was literally telling people to break the Constitution and break the law, right?
I don't agree with that.
Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints.
I'll tell you, man. I'll tell you what. You literally just admitted that they completely told all of these people to violate the law, because we just agreed that this was the law, and you agreed with my explanation of this to you, and
because your explanation is based off of the
fact,
literal
the Supreme
literal,
Court. No, it's based off of the fucking Supreme Court. Yes,
it's not
and what
based
they've already
off
said.
I
of,
want to.
No,
I
I want
want
no
based
caller. I want you to give me a single Supreme Court precedent that goes against anything that I've said.
There are none.
Awesome. That I'm fucking right and you're fucking wrong. Yes, I'm fucking right. Sorry, that's how it fucking works. I'm right because I have the Supreme Court precedents, and they've already said I'm right, you're not.
That precedent is not based off of the immigration status or the probable cause of the immigration status they are enforcing at the time. You're talking about a total different situation, which I agree with.
But no. The problem. No. An administrative warrant gives them the right. All right, gives them the ability to actually detain and arrest the person in question whose name is on the warrant. That's all that it does. It does not give them the permission to search that person. It doesn't even give them permission to actually seize any property for them or to go into their home. It simply just gives them the
That's up for
authority
interpretation.
to actually, it's not up for interpretation when it is a
It
fucking
is,
law,
because
and
it's
there's
not case
nothing else that
law.
goes against it at this present moment, sir. There's nothing that goes against it. I want to read you something. Matt, just please let me read these. All right, because at this point, the chat has dropped enough boots to prove what I said true. All right, so
I'm not even reading the chat.
ICE rate. It doesn't matter if you're reading the chat or not. ICE raided the wrong home of a couple in Madison, South Dakota. The couple discovered ICE's intrusion after they returned home from work to find their front doors open. Upon investigation, local authorities confirmed that ICE visited their residence in search of someone else unaffiliated with the couple. No warrant or notice was provided. The second one reads, all right, ICE raided the home of a pregnant U.S. citizen in Huntington Park, California. ICE officers approached the mother's residence with a warrant for her husband. However, the warrant was addressed. Oh, I'm going to read the names actually. For her husband, Jorge Medina. However, the warrant was addressed to a David Medina. She explained that her husband was gone and watched as 10 heavily armed ICE officers swept in to search her home. These were with administrative warrants.
Yeah, and I
Reading
don't agree
those,
with that.
you don't agree with. Would that be a violation of the Fourth Amendment, sir? Yes or no?
I don't agree. I don't know the. Okay,
You're a
I'll take that back. I don't know. Hold on.
Bootlicker.
Yeah,
You're wasting my fucking time.
Erika
You're a bootlicker.
Yeah.
You're a sycophant
Can I-
also. These aren't. I'm not calling you names, sir. I'm literally pointing out
These are ad
observations here.
hominems.
What I
Please,
observed.
the
You can
ad hominems
no.
aren't
That's not
helping.
That's not an ad hom.
It is.
The
Yes,
ad
it is.
hom, would be saying your argument is fucking stupid. That's the ad hom because I'd be attacking your argument. That would be an
Calling
ad
somebody a
hom.
bootlicker is
All
an
right.
ad
What I'm
hominem
doing
attack.
right now is actually making an inference based on the conversation in which we've had thus far that you are, in fact, sir, a bootlicker for Donald Trump. All right. And you may likely be a sycophant. Tis all. Hi, Obi. What a cute doggo you are.
Nemo,
He doesn't know what ad homs are.
No, he doesn't. Nemo, I know we wanted to run. You wanted to run through one of the thing with the collar, because I don't think we're getting anywhere with this. So I think you wanted to run through one of the thing, right?
Yeah. So
Can I just say? I'm sorry. Can I just say? I'm going an ad hominem attack attacks the character, background, or personal traits of an opponent instead of addressing their actual argument. That is what
I
you're
did
doing.
address your argument. I did
I'm
address
just
your
saying.
argument.
That's all. I'm.
Okay.
And what I just made was an inference based on our conversation, sir, that you are
You
in
called
fact
me
a
a
bootlicker.
bootlicker.
But I am
Okay,
going
that is
on
an
mute.
ad hominem attack.
If that hurts your feelings, by all means, I think Nemo will soothe them for you. I'm not sure what's going to happen
It
here,
doesn't hurt
but
my
Nemo,
feelings.
may
I'm
the
just
force
pointing
be
out
with
the
you.
obvious.
And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on mute here. You don't have to talk to me anymore.
It's totally fine. I'm just pointing out the facts. That is an ad hominem attack. Whether you agree with that or not, that's your opinion, and that's totally
Now, if you
fine.
keep
I'm not.
talking to me, I'm going to do some real ad homs. Hi, Obi. Hi,
So,
Obi.
Well, we can agree to
um,
distree. I appreciate the
I
okay.
never
conversation
agreed
either
to
way.
disagree. You're
So
wrong.
I wanted
All
to run
right.
through. I wanted to run through a little thing with you. I
Okay.
promise it won't. It won't take long. Um. So I know that you can't see the screen. I have a list. And had a thought one day. Started making a list. I've got it pared down to 6. Really, it's 5 relevant things. So, the first one on the list is fake news. Is it fair to say that Donald Trump popularized the slogan "fake news"?
Is it fair? Popularized? Yes.
Yeah, like when people hear the slogan "fake news," they immediately think of Donald Trump, right? Like he's the one that really made that like a household thing. Um, is that fair to say?
It is. Yes.
Okay. Um, Number 2 is okay. Is it fair to say that Donald Trump is what would be considered, I guess, like a strong man? So by that I mean, dude is very fixated on appearing masculine, macho. Got to be the one in charge. Got to be the one making the decisions. Got to be the boss. Got to be, I don't know, the best, biggest, smartest, strongest, whatever.
Are we talking about fascism?
No.
Okay. Do I think he's a narcissist and I think he wants to be the center of attention and he wants to act like he's the strong? Sure. Okay. I agree.
All right. And then third one is what the fuck does that say? Oh, is it fair to say that he at least calls himself a Christian?
Honestly, oof. That's a tough one, honestly, because I don't remember him specifically saying he was a Christian. Honestly, I don't remember. And I'll be honest, regardless whether I'm a Trump voter or not, I don't follow the guy day to day and I don't listen to all of his speeches.
The
He
Bible
has
certainly
mentioned
is one of,
Christianity.
if not, I mean, it is the book.
Let's pray together, may we? Yes.
I believe in God. I am Christian. I'm a Protestant. I'm very proud of it. Presbyterian, to be exact.
I'm Presbyterian. Boy, that's down the middle of the road, folks, in all fairness. I mean, Seventh-day Adventist, I don't know about.
I have great relationship with God. I have great relationship with the evangelicals. And I go to church a lot. Always on Christmas, always on Easter, always when there's a major occasion.
So,
All right, I guess he's a Christian.
yeah. All right.
So,
Is it? Sorry.
go ahead, sorry.
Is it fair to say that he calls himself a nationalist?
Does he call himself a nationalist?
Yep.
Again, I'm not sure, honestly.
That. You know, they have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Is it fair to say that Donald Trump does not like Marxist, communist, socialist? Is that fair to say?
Come on
Like
with
he is
this is going
anti-Marxism?
down this is the fascist argument, and I'm sorry, I can't agree with that. I'm sorry,
Why? You're agreeing with it the whole way.
because the man is a narcissist, and he says a lot of
So,
stupid shit.
so was Hitler.
Okay, I don't disagree, but the reason why I say that is because I judge a man by a man or a woman by their actions, not by what they say.
Oh, okay. Donald Trump prosecuted a police state upon this country, a secret police. He expanded ICE and unleashed them across this country, masked agents who don't have identifying badges of any kind, who are questionably trained, and their job is to go after a certain group of people, enemies of the state, right? The people who are enemies within, right? The ones that are poisoning the blood of the nation.
Are you asking me if he did that?
I'm not asking that. That's literally what he did.
Yeah, he said that, sure, but he talked about his political opponents, not necessarily the people that you're referring to.
I'm saying he's created a secret police force. That's ICE. And he has unleashed it across this country to go after a certain group of people. In this case, it is illegal immigrants, right? Or the ones that are claimed to be illegal immigrants. And
Well,
the
I mean,
reason is
that's ICE's job. That's what they've done for many years now. Not necessarily
not at
was
this
just
scale.
Trump that's done
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that's ICE's job, but not at this scale. Not even under Obama. Because like there were limitations with this. But the point is that it's not stopping with illegal immigrants, because American citizens are getting caught up in this. You have American citizens getting the shit beaten out of them, not to mention the ones that have been unalived, right? Keith Porter, Renee Good, and Alex Preddy. There are more, by the way, but those are the three that most people have heard of. And outside of that, Americans have been assaulted and in some cases permanently injured, like disabled, because of their interactions with ICE recently, in this last year, a year and a half now.
All right, but I just want to point out the fact that Biden, you know, for what it's worth, under Biden, ICE did deport more people under Biden than any term in Trump's first presidency, and
Okay.
even currently.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that Biden was more effective with less money.
I mean, I don't know the exact figures from the numbers
ICE
standpoint.
Is getting another $150 billion in its budget, which makes it larger than most countries' militaries. The only countries that have larger militaries than the budget of ICE is the United States, China, and Russia. Those are the only three countries.
I don't disagree that that's absolutely ridiculous, because I hate government spending that's unnecessary.
Okay.
Sure.
So, and then you're saying that, well, Biden deported more. Okay. Biden didn't need the $150 billion. He didn't need to hire thousands of ICE agents with dog shit training requirements, right? I mean, these people are getting, 6 weeks of training in some cases? 6 weeks. That's that big hiring push that was done last year. 6 weeks of training.
Well,
Biden didn't need to do that.
We could also argue that the states that have been giving Trump the most pushback helps Biden enforce these types of laws as well. We could also say that too.
Okay. I mean, like if you're gonna say what blue states are they were helping Biden, they were in on it, and they now that it's Trump, oh they're hurting Trump whenever it comes to immigration, dude. No. Anyway,
No,
again,
I'm
my
I'm
point
saying
is, I
I'm
like
saying under
your
the political climate has dictated a lot of the it's influenced a lot of people in the public, let's say, and it has affected the effectiveness of ICE. Okay, in
but
general. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's blue states, it's red states. I'm just saying the
okay.
cooperation under Obama and Biden has been a lot different than under Trump.
I mean, that sounds like a skill issue to me. That sounds like Donald Trump just sucks at leading. Because what you're telling me is that Barack Obama and Joe Biden were able to achieve more than what Donald Trump is able to do, despite him dramatically increasing the budget of ICE and dramatically increasing the size of that agency. Like the sheer number of people that have been brought on, the police force, like I mean, well, not police force, but like the agents that have been hired on to do this. I mean, like the whole idea of big government, right?
All right, but again, if we're gonna talk as far as the situation politically, many states have stated their unwillingness to cooperate with immigration enforcement.
Those were already okay, but that was already the case before Trump. Like sanctuary cities, sanctuary states that existed prior to Donald Trump. Like that was absolutely a thing under Biden.
Sure,
but again, we're turning this into a conversation about ICE, and my point is not to talk about ICE. I mean, if you want to talk about ICE, I mean, okay, all right. Here, I'll divert very quickly. Is it fair to say that ICE has raided homes without judicial warrants?
What is your definition of raided?
Entered a home without a judicial warrant. Is it fair to say that ICE has done this?
I do not know if they did or not. I don't know how exactly the extent to which they've have or have not.
I mean, we talked about this earlier. We literally talked about this earlier. Like we were talking about judicial and administrative warrants.
Yes, I'm not disagreeing that they did not enter a home with just an administrative warrant, but they may have also entered homes with judicial warrants. I don't know that.
Obviously, they have used judicial warrants. I'm saying, are they using administrative warrants and entering homes, despite the fact that administrative warrants don't grant them the right to enter a home?
Again, that's up for interpretation, but sure.
Nemo, may I say something to you, please?
Yeah.
Nemo. All right. Pretty much what you just asked him was, did Billy commit murder on Tuesday? And his response was, well, did he commit murder on Monday?
Right. I know Billy didn't do it on Wednesday.
I know he didn't do it on Thursday either. Sorry.
All I know is 6 out of 7 days, Billy did not commit murder. Therefore, I mean, there's a pattern there.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Billy, he didn't do it the other 6 days. But can I say he did it the one time?
I'm only trying to be accurate as best as I can.
Okay, but like the point is that ICE has absolutely used administrative warrants and entered homes, despite the fact that administrative warrants don't allow them to enter homes. I mean, fuck, JD Vance himself has argued for this. He's on camera arguing that, yeah, well, no, they should be allowed to do that. So this is absolutely a thing that's been happening. So whatever. Is it fair to say that ICE has been randomly checking people's IDs in areas that they're patrolling?
Yes.
Okay. And asking for proof of citizenship?
Yes, they're allowed to legally do that, yes.
Okay. Is it fair to say that they have detained people who are either American citizens or permanent residents, temporarily, and during those detentions, roughed them up, or they got rough while they were detaining them, and they were trying to get information out of them.
Yes.
Okay. Is it fair to say that ICE has been targeting predominantly Hispanic majority areas, or I guess really areas that are majority non-white? I'll put it that way. Is it fair to say that ICE has been targeting areas with large amounts of immigrants and conducting operations, picking up people en masse and then dropping them off at detention centers?
As they have for many years, yes.
Okay. And is it fair to say that recently ICE has been building up a nice little index of problem people? So you may have seen video clips of people who were filming ICE agents whenever they're doing whatever the fuck, and that the ICE
Yep.
agents will hold up a phone and take a picture of that person's face. And you may have heard about some type of facial scanning, right?
I vaguely heard about that. Yes. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure, but I vaguely heard about that. Sure.
There's an ICE agent on video threatening someone who was filming them. I guess that the person who was filming him insulted him, and he held up his phone, took a picture of the person's face, and said, "Okay, well, now you're a domestic terrorist. Got your face. Now you're a domestic terrorist."
They were just recording. They weren't involved in whatever was going on at the time, because I don't know what video you're.
Yeah, they were just recording. They were just recording.
Yeah, well,
But the point is, he took a picture of their face and added them to a database that is being used to track "quote unquote" domestic terrorists.
Well, ICE does use databases that track everybody pretty much.
Okay, cool. Everything that I just described was the daily actions of the SS.
Okay. Are
So
you
to say
are you
that ICE is
comparing
not
the ICE
the
agents
same
to the
thing.
brown shirts?
Yes. Well, not so much the brown shirts, more, I mean, the SS were not the brown shirts. The SA were the brown shirts, but the SS, they were the dudes with the black trench coats. Not to mention Greg Bavino literally had a trench coat that eerily resembled the trench coats that were worn by SS officers. But, that's a whole other thing, right? The point is, dude, I just described the daily tasks of people who were in the SS, in the secret police, in the Gestapo, right? That was their job, was to go and find whatever target, which in this case, it would have been Jewish people, go into Jewish majority areas, find Jewish people, round them up, and beat the shit out of them if they wanted to get information from them, detain them, put them into detention centers, and then we're just off to the races, right? Again, my point is, ICE is very similar. There are a lot of similarities, okay? It is very much a secret police because these people are not being identified. These people are quote-unquote police, right? They're federal agents, and they are not being identified. They have their faces covered. They don't have badges. Whenever they are asked to identify themselves, they say, fuck off. They are not identifying themselves. Now, I don't know about you. I live in Georgia. If somebody were to come up to me in full kit with a mask and try to pick me up and put me in a van or some shit, because these people are using rental cars. They're not using official ICE vehicles or whatever the fuck. I would think that I'm being kidnapped, and I would avail myself of my Second Amendment right because I live in Georgia, stand your ground law. Like, I think that most sensible people would do that. But in any case, I know that you are picking up on the fact that this list that I'm running down is the fascist list. This is the list that I made. It's not the official list. This is a list of things that I noticed. These are things that I noticed that were similar. And so the fifth one is anti-Marxist. The sixth one is seditionist. Donald Trump engaged in seditious activity after he got his ass kicked by Joe Biden. Once Joe Biden kicked his ass in 2020, Donald Trump pitched a hissy fit, and he sat there and said, nuh-uh, tried to undermine the very bedrock of our nation, which is free and fair elections, and proceeded to legally challenge. Nothing wrong with legally challenging. What is wrong is exhausting all your legal challenges and then proceeding to continue to use illegal means to circumvent the result, to overturn the result, to the point of violence. But maybe you say, hey, blah, 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 something about that, whatever. Okay. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Our great founders did not want and would not condone false and fraudulent elections." He said that December 3rd, 2022. That is 2 years after Joe Biden kicked his ass. And he said that apparently we can just throw out the Constitution. He said that. That is seditious.
Well, regardless what somebody says, again, like I mentioned before, I don't really care what people say. It doesn't affect me personally.
I mean, like I get it. You don't care what people say, and all right, that's fine. So I mean, I get it. Like you are not willing to just take him at his word whenever he says the bad thing. Like he has to actually do the bad thing.
Bad or good. I will mention that because all right. That's how I interpret his speech. I think it's all bullshit.
Well, if you thought it was all bullshit, you wouldn't have voted for him.
Again, I mentioned why I voted for him. This was, I didn't vote for him because he was an intellectual. I voted for him for other reasons.
Yeah, if everything that he says is bullshit in your eyes, then that would mean that nothing that he says is worth believing, but you still voted for him. I'm not gonna try and lay out your logic for you, dude. I'm just gonna run through this again, speed run. Number 1, fake news. Donald Trump popularized the slogan. The Nazis had a similar one. Lügenpresse. German for lying press. To this day, if you look up Lügenpresse, if you type it in and look it up, it is associated with the Nazis. To this day. Number 2. Hitler was into the whole strongman bullshit, right? Same thing with Mussolini. They were both narcissists. They were both peacocks. That's what they peacocked. They had to be flamboyant and show off and all that shit. Had to show off, oh yeah, we're so strong, blah, 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 right? Donald Trump's the same way. And
All
I mean,
political people are the same way.
but this isn't just an aesthetic thing. They also insisted on being the one making the decisions on shit and being the leader, which is why we have Il Duce and Der Führer, right? Both the leader, that's what it means. So
Yep.
Donald Trump is hell-bent on putting his name on everything and insisting on being the one making the decision, the one making the deal, the one in control, the one that's the boss of whatever it is. But there's that. Number 3, Christian. Hitler was a Christian. He was a Lutheran. People say he was an atheist. No. Stalin was an atheist. Hitler was a Christian. And obviously Hitler was a nationalist.
Was he not?
What?
I thought Hitler was a Catholic.
No, he was not Catholic.
Okay, maybe, I don't know. Hold on. I'm curious because you got me thinking here. Positive Christianity. The Nazi Party supported a state-aligned version of religion that purged Jewish elements such as the Old Testament and recast Jesus as an Aryan fighter. Interesting.
Yes.
Yep.
Positive Christianity. That's what you're reading right now. Yeah. Positive Christianity was this weird cult version of Christianity that was created by the Nazis. And it was a mixture of Christianity and crazy Nazi ideology. The crazy Nazi ideology being like hyper nationalist, race superiority bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. That's what positive Christianity was. Okay, Christian nationalism, very similar, because positive Christianity was ultimately, it would fall under the umbrella of Christian nationalism. It's just a bastardized version of Christianity.
Well,
so the point is,
I'm remembering him. So I did watch some of his speeches, and it was vaguely translated or whatever. So obviously, it's probably not 100% accurate. But I do remember that because the Germany at the time was a majority Christian nation, and I do remember some of the talk. People were talking about him professing his religious ideology leaning towards Christianity to get people to vote for him, politicking BS. So I'm trying to align. I don't think we really know what his actual faith was. I think it was just a politicking scheme.
I mean, that's probably it's irrelevant almost.
I understand that. I'm just saying.
The point is he called himself a Christian. That's the point, right? I mean, whether or not he truly was one is irrelevant. He called himself that. He pretended to be one. Just like Donald Trump calls himself a Christian and very poorly pretends to be one whenever he's asked basic things about the Bible.
There's actually there's a quote. There is a quote here. It says, this was from Hitler. It said, "You see, it's been our misfortune to have the wrong religion. Why didn't we have the religion of the Japanese who regard sacrifice for the fatherland as the highest good? The Mohammedan religion, too, would have been much more compatible to us than Christianity. Why did it have to be Christianity with its meekness and flabbiness?" So, again, like I said, I think that there's something, there's more to it than just he believed himself as a Christian. I think that it was fake, according to his own words.
Yeah, again, I'm saying that it doesn't matter if he was a Christian. He called himself a Christian. Publicly, he called himself a Christian. He pretended to be a Christian, right? I mean, again, positive Christianity was an extension of that. But I mean, again, this is getting off into the weeds. The point is that the Nazis dressed up Christian nationalism in their own little goose-stepping way to advance their agenda. And so that this, again, just more to the point, and then anti-Marxist, when the Reichstag fire happened, the communists were blamed. The Communist Party in Germany was disbanded the next day. The next day. They were blamed for setting the Reichstag, which is the German Capitol building, on fire. The communists were. And they were thrown out. Hitler hated Marxists, hated socialists, hated communists. Now, some people are going to be cute and say, but Nemo, Nazi, means National Socialist. You're right. You're right. Kind of like how North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, but we all know that they are not a democratic republic. No. The label is used to appeal to people because socialism was appealing to Germans at the time. That's why they called him that. Anyway, good.
No, I was just going to your point. I did get a $10 super chat over on the tube from Joel. And Joel wanted us to point out that mass deportation was also a Nazi policy. That was what they did before genocide. And then genocide was the move when deportation became too cumbersome.
I'm glad that Joel sent that, because Joel, you reminded me of something that I had up when Erika was talking about Action T4. So, have you ever heard of something called the Madagascar Plan? The Madagascar Plan, I mean, it's pretty much what it sounds like. The Germans thought, hey, why don't we take all of the Jewish people and deport them to Madagascar? We will create a colony in Madagascar, and we'll put all the Jewish people there. That was the Madagascar Plan. That was proposed in 1940. Also, it should be noted, Nazi Germany was encouraging Jews to immigrate, not to the other immigrate, the one with the E, meaning to leave.
Emigrate.
Yeah. So, just reading from this, as the efforts by the Nazis to encourage the immigration, as in to leave, of the Jewish population of Germany before World War II were only partially successful, the idea of deporting Jews to Madagascar was revived by the Nazi government in 1940. Okay? 1940, the Madagascar Plan is considered. A year later, the Holocaust starts. That's when the death camps happen, is in 1941. Because it took a year for them to realize, wow, it's really hard to round up all these people and deport them. It's really hard to get Madagascar to be a colony for all of these people. It's really expensive. This is a pain in the ass. Why don't we just kill them instead?
Yeah, that's a fucking horrible idea. Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, sorry.
Look at me, Matt. Look at me.
Well, let's be frank. If that were to happen in this country, I'm pretty sure everybody would revolt.
It can't happen here.
I don't see that. It better not fucking happen. Let's be honest.
Oh, it better not.
Yeah.
It can't happen here.
It better not.
Get a stern talking to for sure, because people like you would say, well, but there
What's the
there
nuance?
wasn't precedent in the Constitution. The Supreme Court didn't say explicitly that we shouldn't bake people in ovens, so it's okay, right?
When the chancellor rallied against gypsies and Jews, he's just playing politics, was their common sense view. Yet hatred took root. The brown shirts had free run, and the voters had cause to rue what they had done. Hitler came for their guns, and they meekly complied. Few then thought to resist the strong onrushing tide. The police will protect us, Sarah, my dear. This is Beethoven's birthplace. It can't happen here. Those were very hard times, the worst we ever saw. Rich Jews were resented for the furs that they wore. They cost us the war. They are traitors, it's clear. Sarah, don't worry. It can't happen here. The foes of this chancellor disappeared in the night, and he started to speak of a 1,000-year Reich. He censored the newspapers, both left and right, and glass littered the streets one November night. With Hindenburg dead, who was there left to stand? Who had the will to resist this warped little man? Pervs wore triangles. Juden wore stars. Both lost their rights under Germany's laws. Sarah and Stephen were loaded like freight on a train bound for Dachau by a command of the state. I'm sure we'll be freed, Sarah, my dear. We're a civilized race. This can't happen here.
So can I ask you guys a question?
Yep.
Do you honestly think, and this isn't to be, I'm not trying to sound like rude or anything, but do you honestly think that this is where we're heading? In all honesty.
Yes, I do. And there's it's because they're not trying to hide it. And when you hear them talk and you hear things like this, it's not it's super fucking obvious.
Hello, New York. Hello, Madison Square Garden. And hello to the United States of America. People watching in all 50 states, we are here tonight with a message for you. In 9 days, your rescue is coming. In 9 days, your salvation is at hand. In 9 days, Donald J. Trump is going to go back to the White House. We stand here today at a crossroads in the history of this nation, in the history of our civilization. This is a choice between betrayal and renewal, between self-destruction and salvation, between the failure of America or the triumph of America. I want you to think for a minute about the decades of abuse that has been heaped upon the good people of this nation. Their jobs looted and stolen from them and shipped to Mexico, Asia, and foreign countries. The lives of their loved ones ripped away from them by illegal aliens, criminal gangs, and thugs who don't belong in this country. A political system that punishes hard-working citizens, oppresses them at every turn.
Oh wait, that's the that's the wrong speech. It was this one I meant to play. Damn it. That was
You're all right.
Now that was this is the one that I meant to play is this one right here, because this one right here. This one's loads of fun. Check this one out.
The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us. Because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness, you are jealousy, you are envy, you are hatred. You are nothing. You can build nothing. You can produce nothing. You can create nothing. We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create. We are the ones who lift up humanity. You thought you could kill Charlie Kirk? You have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk. And now millions will carry on his legacy. And we will devote the rest of our lives to finishing the causes for which Charlie gave his last measure of devotion. You cannot defeat us. You cannot slow us. You cannot stop us. You cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erika in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us. You have no idea the dragon you have awakened. You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic. Because our children are strong, and our grandchildren will be strong, and our children's children's children will be strong. And what will you leave behind? Nothing. Nothing. To our enemies, you have nothing to give, you have nothing to offer, you have nothing to share, but bitterness. We have beauty, we have light, we have goodness, we have determination, we have vision, we have strength. We built the world that we inhabit now, generation by generation, and we will defend this world. We will defend goodness, we will defend light, we will defend virtue. You cannot terrify us, you cannot frighten us, you cannot threaten us, because we are on the side of goodness, we are on the side of God.
Especially that last part. He kind of that's Stephen Miller talking at Charlie Kirk's memorial. He did kind of directly plagiarize this one line. The one line that he plagiarized really hard, especially right at the end, is that we're the witnesses, the builders, the light bearers of our ideas and our worldview. You heard that, like he said that almost like kind of like line for line right there at the end. You know who he plagiarized that from?
Miller.
Joseph Goebbels, actually, in 1932. There's also a bunch of other parts of that speech that I didn't play that are insanely close, not quite direct. Like, he was smart enough to not just lift the entire thing and modified it, but that's the deputy chief of staff from the White House delivering a Joseph Goebbels speech at Madison Square Garden behind the seal of the President of the United States. But you know what? It's cool, though. Tell us, ask us the question, do we really think that this is happening? Yes. I think it's really happening. Erika, do you think it's really happening?
Yeah, I do. Nemo?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody got to do story time. Can I do story time?
Sure.
Okay, yay. All right. Shut up. I didn't ask you to laugh. All right. So first they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Are you aware that it was Jewish people in conjunction with the Nazis and other Germans who helped put Jews on trains to Auschwitz, to Dachau?
Himself.
But you are aware of that, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so you are aware. All right. And when they didn't have any more Jewish people to put on trains, they started putting the ones that helped them on the trains to the death camps.
Yes.
What makes you think? And I'm so sorry because I didn't hear this at first. How old are you?
38.
You're 38 years old.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Why? What does the age matter?
Oh, we're basically the same age. That's why I thought you were based off of the way in which you're thinking. I thought that you were much younger. I'm not gonna hold you. Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna read a thank you. I'm going to read a thank you. I wasn't Matt, but now I am going to. All right. Shout out to Kristen for the 5. Kristen said, can this guest just admit he is a racist so we can stop hearing his excuses and move on to something of substance? I know.
I
I know.
really
It
wish
hurts,
people would
right?
stop saying that. No, that's just
You want them to
ridiculous.
stop saying that you're a racist? Does it hurt to be called a racist rather than actually being one?
It's
Does it hurt?
annoying. It doesn't really hurt because I think people just say whatever they feel
I
like
know.
they want to
I kind of
say.
agree
Because
with you. Hmm. I
again,
kind of agree with
I'm
you. I
not
think
for ad
that word has
hominem.
gotten
That's
kind of
all.
like thrown around. I'm sorry. So, when does an ad hominem become an observation or simply the truth?
An observation of somebody's opinion can be labeled as an ad hominem if they don't agree with their opinion. They make some type of attack like that, calling people names that it's quite childish, to be honest.
Mm, it's childish to point out that this the donor was childish to point out that you likely are a racist.
Ex-
Why was that childish?
Liz, can let's be honest here. How can you determine whether somebody is a racist or not over a conversation that we've had tonight?
That's easy based off of the things that you say. So your actions, just like you judge Trump off of his actions, supposedly, you've been judged off of your actions.
I haven't mentioned once tonight
You do know
anybody's
words are
race
actions,
at all.
right? You do
I'm
know words are
I'm just
actions, right?
I'm just pointing out a fact. I've not once mentioned somebody's some type of race at all tonight because I don't
Do you
give a
think
shit.
that you have to mention race in order to be racist?
That's indicative of the term, sure.
No, actually, no, it's not.
You're
That's not indicative of the term, sir. It's not. You don't have to mention someone's race in order to be racist. Based
uh,
off of the words in which you said here, all right? Because you've made okay, so it's going to be one of two things, all right? You pretty much what you've done is you made every excuse that you could possibly think of to justify, all right, the xenophobia, the anti-immigrant and migrant attacks, all right. Also the attacks on well, it was a third thing that we mentioned, but I can't think of it. So I'll just stick with those. You've justified the Trump administration going out and accosting people simply based off of their ethnicity, also based off of the language that they're speaking and where they're located. Because Nemo mentioned that earlier. You
the only
justified
thing
it.
Nemo mentioned was the fact that he mentioned that they are targeting specific populations according to their agenda, and I agreed with that.
What's
That
the
had
specific
nothing to do.
populations?
That had nothing to do with the quote unquote racist terminology, racist ad
What's the
hominem
population
attack
that
that this
they're
person
targeting?
said.
What's the population that they're targeting?
He specifically said non-white, and I said sure.
No, no, I'm asking you. I'm asking you. What is the population that they're targeting?
Non-white.
Non-white?
Yes.
And you're okay with that. So you're okay with people who are non-white being targeted because they speak a different language.
I speak a different language.
Are you non-white?
I'm Portuguese.
You're white.
I'm Portuguese.
All right. Do you guys eat paella in Portugal? Because if so, you're just paella white. The fuck? You're white. You're white.
I'm sorry, there are denominations of white. Okay, whatever.
They're not
I don't even care.
denominations of white. They're literally, you're just
don't-
white. Hey, yo, bro,
Okay.
listen, please, by all means, I swear to God, Matt and Nemo, how long are y'all going to do this? Because I don't feel like I should like yelling today. I'm so serious. And this dude, he just a fucking like white nationalist. He's okay with it. I'm surprised you all didn't get into the Bible with him. He's probably a
man.
white Christian nationalist. Guy, we speak to people
I'm
like
not
you all the
religious.
time. Oh, then fantastic. We speak to people like you all of the time. All right. You just said that you're okay with non-white people being targeted because of their ethnicity,
I didn't say that.
also their language that they speak, and the
I didn't say that either.
location. You actually
I
did
didn't
say
say
that.
that either. No,
You
I did
did.
not.
Yeah, that's why this is recorded. So there's that part.
I've never once said any
You
of
can
that.
rewind
I
it when you
don't.
finish.
I mean, it's all on YouTube, and you can rewind the conversation.
I never once said any. I don't. Oh my god.
All right.
I can't win.
You think. Okay. So wait. So do you want to amend? You want to amend your statement then? So you think that it's wrong to racially profile people?
It's part of their policy.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong?
I'm not saying whether it's wrong or right. Police officers do the same thing.
Fuck off.
Dude, he had the boot like literally sitting on his diaphragm. Like, what are we doing?
I never said that. I never said that. I'm like, all right, cool. Here's your correct us for the record. Is that wrong? Whoa. Guys, whoa.
Thank God for Nemo. Thank God for Nemo. Seriously. Nemo, you walked him into so many friggin'
God.
points.
I
think I walked him at least to one, and Matt got him too. And I'm like, the fuck are you doing?
Erika, I love how Nemo was like talking to the guy, and the guy's like, are we talking about fascism? And Nemo's like, no. And he's like, okay. And he just kept going and giving all of the correct, answers that fit. I was just like,
yeah. And then when he realized that it was, he's like, I can't agree with it being a fascist. My dude, you agreed the whole list down.
That part. Also, when you gave him the tactics that they were doing, like the surveillance, and everything, that when you did that part, and he was like, he does. I think he said he does agree with it, and then you let him know that was all what the SS was doing. And then, like, once you had him right there, that's when he tried to start talking about the essay and whatnot. And I was like, this dude's getting on my goddamn nerves. I think I had it backwards, but yeah.
I gotta tell you, that was rough.
That was painful.
It was.
I can't talk to people like that.
Yeah, that was. Yeah.
It was a Willy Wonka's chocolate factory of running into the point.
Do either of you guys have anything to read off? Because I do. I've got. I just want to say thank you to Tammy much earlier on the Blue app. She just wanted us to take care of someone in the chat, and we did. So you're welcome, Tammy. Appreciate you. Thank you for your generosity as always. Midwest Progressive on the Blue app says, Nemo's right about fusion power. That's how you win SimCity 2000. Fucking A, it is. As someone who absolutely installed that game in 1993, fuck yeah. And by the way, that was a big deal because you definitely needed, you really needed a 486 processor, Nemo. You really needed a 486. Okay, you had to be running at least Windows 3.1, and I am pretty sure, if I recall correctly, you needed 20 megabytes of hard drive space to run that game.
Hell yeah.
Just that was I remember that was a big fucking deal. That game. That game is goated. So fuck yeah. SimCity 2000. Number of cities destroyed by tornadoes. Just FYI.
Awesome.
Yeah, 20 megabytes, right? I know, fucking crazy. Do you guys have anything? You guys have anything to read over there? What do you guys? You guys anything?
Yeah.
Please do.
Thank you, Neely, for the $11.11. Neely said, "You are the funniest person ever. I will take that and wear it with honor. And thank you for saving all of us from leaping out the window because of this guy. He was. That shit. Like, I was like, come on. Good grief. All right. And also, Left Jess, thank you for the 15 over on Venmo. Thank you very, very much. Oh, you guys banned Dun for slurring. Yeah, Dun's a piece of poo.
Oh yeah, fuck
Oh,
that
Matt.
guy.
Yeah, I can't stand him. Matt, did you hear last night that I joined a panel and just like cussed Liam out?
No.
Oh, okay, then I did it.
Oh.
Thank you. Y'all are awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate the love.
Did you see when Liam came up here last night with Nemo and I?
No, I didn't. I'm gonna have to go to YouTube and watch that.
Go watch
glorious.
the whole thing, please, Erika.
Okay,
Like it's only like 20 minutes. Like it's really not that long, but you're
Okay,
gonna
awesome.
love it. Go watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Erika made a big entrance, just a grand boom. Here, motherfucker. The other night.
I did.
That was
I
beautiful.
did say that. I said, "Listen here, mother." Yeah,
What?
I told him a lot.
Wait, who was this on? Was this on Danielle's panel? What was this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to remember who was it.
He kept messing with Maddie. She's
Yeah.
like 20 years
What-
old.
was
She's a
it-
kid.
Fucking Maddie.
Who was
Seriously?
it? That was screw with Maddie. Who was it? I'm trying to
It was
remember.
Liam.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Piece of poo.
Yeah.
Fucking Liam. Like I don't give a fuck. Like if he wants to come up here and like say like I don't fucking care. Also but like the fuck, Maddie. Like the fuck out of here, dude. Nothing like being a piece of shit misogynist like Liam. God damn it.
So,
Fucking
yeah.
yeah.
Nemo.
Yeah. What do you got, Nemo? Yeah,
I have one.
Okay.
Oh wait, I have two.
okay. Good.
Thank you, Jacob. This is from way earlier. You said, I find that Gen Xers are very often fence sitters. Why is that? That is a good question. I have an answer, but it'll be a long one. So ask me again tomorrow. Gramingo, thank you for the 666. You said dog walk. Yeah. It was a good one.
Anyone looking for the truncated version of a funny moment with Liam? There was one. I clipped one moment from when Nemo and I were talking to him, and I stuck it on my page. Go watch that. Otherwise, just watch the first like 20-ish minutes of last night. It was pretty fucking funny. You can go find it on the tube. It's one of the great things about being on the tube is that everything is recorded, and then you guys can catch it all back, which is awesome. So for anyone who needs a chance to not see the whole show now, or you go to bed early, or you just miss it entirely, that's fine. Listen to it the next day. We're really glad that you guys are here. Please do us a favor. not only subscribe to me over on the tube, but subscribe to Nemo. His @ is right down here in the description. Subscribe to our friend Erika. It's Erika_Shante. Erika with a C, and then Shante Shante. I bet a lot of you guys are probably already subscribed to her, but please go and make sure that you're subscribed to all three of us. Over here on TikTok, same thing. Please make sure you're following all of us. This is actually my backup account. So if you're just finding me, make sure that you're subscribed to my main account. That's Nemo's main account, but make sure that you go through and follow his multiple backups, because you're going to find him at various times in various places all over these mean TikTok streets. And obviously Erika, she's got a backup as well. Make sure you're following. Links in our bios. That's how people are offering additional support. We appreciate that. Links also down in the description here on the YouTube video. We appreciate that. Last but not least, if you are interested, join up in Nemo's Discord. There's a link in my bio. There's a link in his bio. It's on the link tree right down the line. Looking, Nemo, we haven't gone over to Swan in a while. I see the Swan's live. Should we go to Swan?
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. Is she on her main? Is it Swan of Blackness? She on her main? Yeah, she's
I
on
think
her
she
main.
is on
Yep.
Swan of
Yep.
Blackness.
I just wanted to make sure before I popped it in the chat. So, and then with like 5 S's.
Yep.
Here. 2, 3, 4. 4 of them. There you go, guys. All right, we're gonna go raid Swan. Tell her that we sent you. Back tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully with a few less hiccups than tonight, but oh well, we got through it. And we still had some conversation. So we appreciate you guys being here. Thanks